Bases dropped on a Friday version of Soccer's morning show. Soccer down here, John here, you there. We're stacked. And that's why I took back the first, well, technically now 4 minutes, 5 if you want to include the intro, because we've got to preview a big matchup in the WPSL. We've got both head coaches here in the first half hour. We've got Atlanta United news. We're going to get a visit from TST in hour number 2. We've got Weekend Whiparound. So we are officially in a no dilly, no dally zone this morning. No dilly, no dally. Batting leadoff, hanging out with us, Campbell Chapman, head coach of Decatur FC, because it's Decatur FC hosting Georgia Impact. Coach, thanks for dropping by early on a Friday morning.
No problem. Good morning.
So I want to go all the way back to the beginning. When it came to this particular gig, what attracted you to it in the first place, and what was the process like to bring you under the Decatur FC umbrella?
Well, Gareth and I had spoken about this back in, I think it was October of 2022, about the possibility of putting a team together. Gareth was excited about doing it. I thought maybe we could put a roster together, and then we really didn't get moving quickly enough to get the support of the city, to get the stadium and all that good stuff. And then this year, once we heard that there was a potential to get the stadium for games, then obviously that was a game changer, because then we could feel like we could really make something more professional in an environment where we could be in the middle of the city and that sort of stuff, and then obviously get the community involved. And so then Gareth's like, okay, it's all yours. Put together a team and let's see what we can do. And lucky enough, working with the club game and the youth game, I've got a lot of players that I've worked with and coached that are in college that I knew would probably be excited about playing it. And really started reaching out to players individually, and then sort of put a framework of a team together and really built from there.
I know that for folks that follow things locally, there's a lot of Georgia State University influence that's attached to it. Oh, by the way, what is the mug and what's in the mug?
England, Starbucks. So Shannon and I, my wife and I, we've got this thing that everywhere we go, like wherever it is, we get a mug to kind of like if we drink a Starbucks. But now we're kind of off Starbucks, but we're still using the cups.
There you go. And straight up coffee this morning?
I'm a little bit of a cheat. I have to have the froth milk, unfortunately. I want to come across as a tough guy drinking black, but I've tried it. I just can't do it. I appreciate anybody who can.
Right there with you, my friend, because this for me, it's soda and caffeine. That's how I end up doing it this morning.
Well, you got a lot more. I've only got to do 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like until 11 when folks want us to stop talking. A lot of local influence. There's some Georgia State University influence there. When you finally got this roster assembled, what was it like to see all of the locals and your contacts and everything come together to be this first roster here in the WPSL?
Yeah, I mean, they're a fantastic group of ladies. They really are. The Georgia State players, I mean, through my daughter Emma's playing there. She's on the team, which is fortunate as well. I get to work with her again. Ed was very helpful at Georgia State to give me some players that I didn't really know, but have been key components of the team. And then I really reached out to some other local colleges and said, hey, you've got any players that you think would have interest? And then through the girls that I've worked with prior, I reached out to them. I contacted all the coaches individually and said, hey, listen, I'm looking to put a team together. Would be okay if your player plays, because a lot of them, are reluctant or hesitant through risk of injury, or if a player's had a long season, especially in the spring, they're a lot more would like them to do their individual work packages within their schools rather than come and play for an independent team. But fortunately, I've got a good reputation of being a coach that provides a good experience for the players, and we don't overdo it. And so far, so good.
Speaking of so far, so good, I want to talk about the home debut, the home opener, where you had a little over 1,800 folks was the announced attendance. Did you have a moment to sit there and look at it from across the way and go, man, that home side for American football is
absolutely packed? Absolutely. I mean, the coach who I was coaching against was Don Martelli from AFU. He's a stalwart of soccer in the community here. And him and I said, look at this. Can you believe this on a Friday night? This many people have come out to watch women play soccer. I said, it's amazing to think that the fan base is there to support the sport. And then obviously with the families as well, bringing their kids, and you've got girls and boys watching the game and getting involved in the game and making a noise that the players, I think, and all of us were sort of shocked by the sort of, I mean, it did help having the lad with the Atlanta United drum. He was very good at getting them going. And it was an amazing night. I'm hoping that tonight will be something similar.
I do want to get into the preview of what you know about Impact and what study hall's been like, but let me get into the community aspect of it, because what you and Gareth and Jack Marchant are able to do there with this program is it is turned into an event where you go to O'Sullivan's at the top of the hill and you get there early, and the benefit of O'Sullivan's being where it is that the walk is downhill when you're heading to the. You got to plot your parking for the ride home, because if you don't want to go uphill too much after a match. But it has turned into an event and an experience even after just the one home match.
Yeah, well, Decatur people, they don't need an excuse to get out the red cups, especially on a Friday afternoon. You know what I mean? So I appreciate, I'm sure those dads who are like, any excuse to get to the square, and now they've actually got one. And so they can get to the square, entertain the kids for a few hours or a few minutes, and then enjoy the walk down. I think that's going to be, as we go through the season, that's going to be sort of more of iconic about what the event was all about. I think the games obviously are going to be important, and scoring goals and having fun and watching the games. But I think the whole the pre-game, the build-up, the people who are involved in the club are helping out tremendously, to make it look as professional as possible, and making the whole event that night, it's not just the game, shop for the game, watch the game, leave the game. There's more to it.
Campbell Chapman, head coach of Decatur FC, hanging out with us for another couple of minutes as they get ready for Georgia Impact tonight at Decatur High School. The game will be on the SDH network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And, when you get that home opener, you were lights out off the top. I mean, it was goal, 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 and you were putting the pressure on immediately. I know that you want to sit there as a coach and sit there and say, yeah, man, that's how we're supposed to do it every single time. But did that even surprise you, the way that you guys got off the board there?
Well, we'd had a couple of games against them. We played against a club team, and I know the players, and I know what they like to do, and I use the fans as sort of like as an energy charger. I said, listen, these people have come to watch. We've got to attack, and be on the front foot and pressurize the other team's defense to try and win the ball back high up the pitch. I said, have lots of shots, have attacks on goal, because you'll then feel the energy from the crowd. They'll get behind you. You'll want to do more. So I think having that big crowd there sort of revved us up. Obviously, before the game, I think we were all sort of shocked by the sort of noise and the vibe that we were getting. And to our credit, we scored early, which just took the pressure off. In fact, to be honest, we could have gone 1-0 down after about 20 seconds. We gave a square corner. Header came in. Jada made a great save. And from that point on, we were in control. But it would have been interesting. I mean, I'm not looking back and saying I wish it happened, but it would have been interesting to see if we'd given up a goal, what the reaction would have been. But all in all, it was a good night.
So what's study hall been like getting ready for Georgia Impact and Rob Roddy?
To be honest, I've really spent a lot of time on working on what we do. I think it's important that we have a style of football that we're going to try and play and adhere to, even if times gets a little bit difficult. I'm expecting a really good game, a really tight game, a physical game, and I think we're just going to be ready to compete. That's the most important thing. No disrespect to the opposition we played so far, but it hasn't been physically challenging. It's been technically challenging to try and break them down, but I think today it's going to be a proper game of football where it's going to go end to end, and both teams going for it.
For folks that are wandering in for the first time and haven't had the chance to do their homework on Decatur FC, this is the time where you get to brag on your roster a little bit. Who are some of the folks that you would sit there and say, okay, gravitate toward these individuals? These are the folks that you'll be seeing a lot of and doing what they're doing out there tonight in the WPSL.
Yeah, I think the one player that will stand out is Wasilla. I'd like to say her last name, but I can't. To be honest, I don't really want to try it. But she's a player that joined us. I got told by Sean Hudson, who's the coach at LSU, that she'd finished playing at LSU. She was living in Atlanta, and she's looking to play professionally in the new USL league in the fall, and that she was looking for a team. And I got in contact with her. And Wasila's plays the six for us. She's a very dynamic, athletic player that's very good dribbler on the ball. At the back, you're going to see some strong, athletic, high-profile ladies that are very good in possession, out of possession, but more importantly, very good defenders. We've got excellent goalkeeper in Jada from Georgia State. And then up front, we attack with width and we attack with speed. And I think Becky Contreras scoring 2 goals early in the first game sort of set a good mark for her. She scored 2 good goals. And then Sarah Grine is another exciting player from Tennessee that plays at Tennessee. There's going to be we have an all-round good team. We've got good players in key positions.
Has your phone blow up? How did this work? Was it basically Decatur FC comes online, Campbell Chapman's named coach? Does your phone blow up? How did this process come?
You mean to get players?
Yeah, to get the players.
I just called them and said, "You're playing this summer." It was really easy. There wasn't a lot of discussion, to be honest.
Well, and that's you're coming to play. I like how that works.
Okay.
No,
It was knowing the individual, knowing the girls that I called, knowing their sort of personalities and the culture that they would bring, and having people at practice, coming to training on a regular basis, they would be committed. And that was the first thing I spoke about, to be honest, when I spoke to them was, this is a commitment. This isn't a training program. This isn't, practice isn't optional. That when we start the season, we're all in.
All right. In the interest of equal time, someone's in the green room, and it's the second interview of this matchup. And so what I'm going to do is bring in Robert from his studio space.
All right.
And his studio space is the inside of his car. So let me bring in Rob and let me bring in Maddie Cruz. And so now it is a fatal four-way as we do the handoff here before Campbell gets to finish off the rest of his coffee. Let me ask you this. Campbell, since you're here first, if there's a question that you would like to ask the head coach of Georgia Impact, what would it be?
Do you drink Guinness after the game?
At the game, I'll gladly do that after the game. Yeah, a little celebration.
After the game.
That's it. Yeah, the funny thing about Guinness. Funny thing about Guinness, I was actually told that when I was 16 in a youth academy, that I had to start drinking Guinness because it would bulk me up. So that was the Scottish version of coaching right there. Yeah.
All right. So then in the turn, Rob, if there's any question you'd like to ask Campbell heading into the matchup tonight, what would it be?
I don't know. I would just be. Are you looking forward to the? Obviously, you've enjoyed the league so far. What's your thoughts going into the full season? What's the aspirations for the full year?
To be honest, Rob, I've coached in this league before, but as you know, the times change very quickly with the players that you get and the players that become available. So for us, it's sort of we're taking it game by game. To be honest, like last weekend in Nashville, it was a different experience to the week before. Heavy, wet grass pitch, 50 people at the game. Really, the only atmosphere was the one we created. Playing against a team that really, to be honest, it was sort of like at a defeatist sort of mentality as the game went on. So I think we're just taking every game as it comes. To be honest, it's really like you today and then who's next in Birmingham on Sunday and moving forward. So one game at a time, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach Chapman, I will let you go and finish your coffee in your England mug. Thanks for dropping by this morning here on the morning show.
Thanks. Good. I'll see you tonight, Rob.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. So now it is a three-way dance. Maddie Cruz, Rob Roddy, and myself. So Maddie, since you are in, go ahead and ask the first question to Coach and get the Georgia Impact side of things.
Absolutely. I mean, I asked Coach Chapman yesterday when we were up there doing some things for media, but I'll ask you this. What has been the buildup like leading up to this matchup, this in-state rivalry and playing at Decatur, especially with the crowds they have? What has been the buildup for you, for the girls, like leading up to this match?
Yeah, I think it's been mostly the same. We've always tried to focus on ourselves for the most part. We have basically looking back at the Nashville game, that's been our biggest thing. We're coming up against we had two good scrimmages, in pre-season, and then come up against number 2 in the country for your opening game, kind of a baptism by fire, same as last year. And it was more kind of looking back at that game and looking back at what we could have done better. We think for the 2 goals that we conceded, we definitely think they were avoidable. And then even the opportunities that we created, we believe we could have taken more. So really think we should have taken something from that game, which again gives us confidence because again, it's not just, your mid-tier bottom table team, and it's, it was a very good competition. So it was just kind of building on that with a focus of coming into this game knowing it's going to be very competitive. There's a lot of girls that played with each other on each team, when they were in club teams, or we've got girls even play with each other when they're in college, in the fall. So it's I think there's a lot of individual battles going on as well outside of just our current matchup as well of Decatur against Georgia. But no, we're very much looking forward to it. They had they're doing everything the right way, over there at Decatur, and building a good atmosphere. And yeah, it's amazing to have that, just down the road, for that kind of local rivalry aspect. And it'll be an interesting one because we're looking to try and see if obviously we're used to games playing in Tennessee and playing in South Carolina, wherever. You're not going to have anyone travel, but there's an opportunity here of even just fans of our own to travel to the game as well. So it should be a nice mix.
I was going to say, what's it like to see the WPSL grow to this point where you are traveling out of state, but now you have the opportunity to be in an environment, whether it's now whether it's a Cherokee for a home match or tonight at Decatur High School, to be in front of a larger than normal crowd. What's it like to see the league grow to this point?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I think it just, again, it emphasizes the growth in women's sport overall. And, that's the biggest thing for us. Like, our whole reason to start the women's team was, one, to give, our opportunities for our female players at the club a chance to play up, experience time with college players during the summer. Also a chance for our girls that are in college to come back and play. But it's also a chance for our youngest players, a chance to kind of look up and aspire to be one of those players one day. And for them to see that there's an opportunity to now play in front of crowds like this, it gives them a chance to dream. So it's fantastic. And whether it's our home atmosphere and away atmosphere, the fact that there's all these different opportunities within Georgia itself, it's only going to be good for the game. So it's going to be a great experience.
Maddie Cruz for Coach Rob, go.
I know you mentioned that you guys have been doing a lot of reviewing everything that happened against Nashville Rhythm. Has it kind of sprung upon you that it's very similar situations to kind of how your season started last year? You handed you your first loss, and then moving forward, you guys went undefeated as it went on. Has it that kind of that deja vu almost kind of hit in a little bit and moving forward with that?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the frustration came in right after the game, or when that second goal went in, because we're like, here we go again, but like there's an opportunity here because I think there's that acceptance in a loss when you're maybe overrun by a team, but even going back and looking at all the stats, it was, 52-48 possession, very even game, a lot of we actually had more completed passes in the end, opportunities to go and score. So I think there was definitely that frustration of knowing that we could have done a few things better. But again, that's just kind of luck of the draw. And it's that first game trying to bond some of the girls together that are new to the team. And I mean, it's all part of the fun in this kind of sharp season. But no, I think it's again, I think that the positives are knowing that you're competing with a real top team. And what Scott's doing over there in Nashville is fantastic, and he's always going to be a contender to go and win the league and make a national championship run. So the fact that we can kind of hold that team to that level and give them a battle, that was it's a real positive going forward. And yeah, looking back at last year, it can show as a positive for us, saying that why can't we do this again and go on another unbeaten run and try and push the teams at the top, just hoping that if they slip up, we'll be there to take advantage of it.
I know coaches like challenges, but how much of a challenge is it to assemble a roster for a WPSL season, which really is a sprint? I mean, it's not something where you can sit there and plan and go, yeah, okay, we'll lay out this roster and this is how we do things formationally, and we'll study our opponents and things like that in depth. How much of a challenge is it in the WPSL to accomplish things that you want to accomplish on a year-by-year basis?
Honestly, I don't think putting the roster together is as much of the challenge. I'd say the first year it was a little bit more difficult because you don't necessarily know, the level of the league that you're going into, the level of the team you're putting together. We've had players come in with, from some big Division 1 schools, and maybe they didn't set the header on fire over here, but you're seeing maybe Division 3 NAI girls come out and they're absolutely flying, So I think it's one that you really have to get to know the players as well in order to build that roster. This second year it was good because immediately you've got, your 20 to 30 girls from your previous year wanting to come back. We have 19 returners in the squad, so immediately you're putting together a strong team so far, and everything else you're just adding to the talent on there. So there's constantly players reaching out. I was probably on average of 20 to 30, emails a week coming in of girls that are interested in playing. And really that's the difficult part, is just funneling through all of that and making sure that you're bringing in girls are only going to positively affect the team, not just talent wise, but we had such a great camaraderie in the team. There's a lot of girls that came back and are driving an hour and a half to every practice because they just loved that team bonding. And I think that's one of the most important things, because in such a short season, it can't just be top talent, because that's not what's going to win you games. You have to be willing to work for each other and bond. And that's been a huge part of the group that we currently have.
Maddie Cruz continues our conversation on Georgia Impact as they get ready for the travel to Decatur FC tonight, 7 o'clock at Decatur High School. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and it also brings up a good point of just like, at least like the talent level of women's soccer, I think all throughout the collegiate level. I feel like people look at Division 1 and think, oh, well, then they're the best. That's who you try to beat. But then they completely overlook Division 2, Division 3, NAIA. What has it been like to really blend all of those players who play at those different collegiate levels, and what have you learned from them in working together and just seeing those girls communicate on the field?
Yeah, I think that's been the nice thing, is bringing players from all different environments, all different schools. And again, it's one, when they come to us, then they're Georgia Impact. They're not this big Division 1 or Division 3 or whatever it is. We're all Georgia Impact, and they're all on the same level, and they have relationships and you know um similarities out with soccer as well, and you see these friendships build as well. And that's been one of the biggest parts of it. But even just last night, after practice, where we had the captains stick around, Charlie and Grace, and we're just chatting to them, and we're talking about other players that we have and lineups, different stuff. And even them, they're like, oh my gosh, she's only senior in high school, or we've got two girls that have only had the spring season in college yet, when they graduated early. And I think it's they see talent, and they just assume they're maybe at a bigger level than they are, and so on. So it's nice to see that, and for them to appreciate each other's talent.
He got a phone call. That's what happens when you do this on your phone. You end up with a phone call, and you've got to sit there and you go, dump the phone call. You were saying when somebody called you.
What was that there? Sorry, cut off there.
No, you were in the middle of your talk about what it's like to get all of the D2, the D3, the NAIA discussing things together before you got that phone call that interrupted you.
Oh, got you. Yeah, no, I was just basically saying that, no, it's just good for these girls to really appreciate each other's talent level. And no matter the college or the club or level they may have played at, they understand that no, we're playing with a top player next to us. And no, it's just good. It's just good to see that.
All right, time to brag on that roster a little bit. For folks who are wandering over to Decatur High School, haven't seen you yet this year, whether it's online or in person, for someone walking in the door, who should they be focusing on to sit there and go, okay, if things are going well for Georgia Impact, then these folks are the ones that we need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've been kind of preaching to our girls this season is it's kind of the Impact way. Is I like that we don't have just that one or two superstars. It's very much a full team effort. And the thing I would say on top of last year is that our squad overall, we've added a lot of depth. So now it's not just the starting 11 on the team, it's the bench coming on, the level staying the same. So no, I'm very very happy with that. One girl that's really kind of been exciting the fans recently, though, probably Anna Weir, our striker, 33. She's at Virginia Tech right now. She's been having a phenomenal start. It's her first year with Impact. But a lot of the youth players have been highlighting her as one of the exciting ones to watch. And then we've got Eunice Obradovic that obviously scored the bicycle kick last year against Charlotte Eagles, and she had a similar type effort against Nashville with her goal against Nashville last weekend. So no, some good players. And then even in the back line, defensively, what we've added, Matty Hook and Maria Andahar from Georgia State, and we've just been some kind of top players back there. So from front to back, it's exciting, and I think no matter from the youth side what players are watching, what positions they play, they're going to have someone to look up to. So that's the important part for us.
Maddie Cruz, keep it going with Coach Rob. And now she's turned on her camera.
Turned on the camera. I looked like a zebra with the light.
with the blind coming through this morning.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in a second. I'll turn it off after I answer the question. In previewing Decatur, I think they have a really strong offense. But from seeing the game against Nashville, you guys have a very, very strong back line. Andujar, Matty Hook were two players in that match that really impressed me with what they were able to do. So in looking at that and analyzing Decatur going into this matchup, what are you anticipating and how are you going to stop the very offensive-minded team going into it?
Yeah, I think, again, it's kind of similar to what we're saying about it being such a fast, sharp season. As you're over and done in just over a month, and it's getting these players to work with each other. And biggest thing is going to be that communication. We had Becky playing with us last year. She unfortunately got injured kind of pre-season for us, but we got to see her talents, and she's very mobile, moves a lot in the field, and it's going to be important for our back line just to over communicate and make sure that they're following the right runners. And I think as long as we're taking care of that, and again, sticking to the principles that we know best, about making life difficult for them, and being compact, then I think we can, create problems for the opponents and start to think a little bit more about the attack, in the game today. But it's definitely going to be a back and forth matchup, I think, by the looks of it.
Last question for you, and thanks for doing this on a match day. And I know that you're kind of trying to stay locked in, and then you get somebody knocking on your door. It's like, dude, we need you to come on and talk on a morning show.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
When it comes to, you mentioned the Georgia Impact way.
Yeah.
And I know that each team has their own their guidelines and mores and how they want to have things done on a daily basis, not just on the field but off the field. Yeah. When you mention the Georgia Impact way, for someone who isn't a part of that and sees the activity on the field, how would you describe the Georgia Impact way and how folks are supposed to represent that on the field and off?
Yeah, no, I think, that kind of starts from our youth side as well, that we try and push through is we should never just be a team that's just kicking it along and going for, ratios of, dump it into the box. And if you're scoring 1 out of 10, then let's get 20 in there. We're trying to play, we're trying to dominate possession, hold on to the ball, and again, really try and move that opposition around. And it's, opportunities where we want to be high pressing, keep the ball in the attacking half, keep it away from our side. And it's not necessarily pass for the sake of passing, but it's pass with the opportunity to create space. And when that space is there, then everyone knows that it's time to attack and go. So it's looking for that just exciting soccer aspect. We're going to defend strong, high press, and we want to score goals at every opportunity. So I'd say that's probably, in short, the best way of looking at it.
And we are looking forward to it tonight as well. Thanks for dropping by from your studio space, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, it's got a great backdrop, and I like how you're working all of the green screen stuff to make it look like it's a fantastic sunny environment there.
You like that? I've got my U13 girls outside the car peeking in. So.
well, wait a second. Turn your phone around. Are they still peeking in?
We've got one just down here, just walking by the car here. You're sneaking into practice. The others are out getting the warm-up ready.
Okay. Well, then go back to being a coach. Thanks for dropping by from your car, and be safe getting down to Decatur tonight. It's going to be a fun one in the WPSL with you guys in Decatur FC. Thanks for dropping by. Great to see you, my friend.
Looking forward to it. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Coach Rob. And so, Maddie, that's the preview for Decatur FC and Georgia Impact tonight. And I know that you and Jason have been incredibly busy getting ready for this one. What has study hall been like for you and Jason getting ready for this one?
Oh, I'm not calling this one. So this one I actually get to go in, I'm just media for this one. I just get to.
Then, like I said, well, then what's it been like studying for this one and not being ready for the call on the network?
I'm just excited for the in-game, for the in-state rivalry, because I feel like that's something that, especially you have two clubs who have been so successful Decatur FC coming in their first season and already making huge waves. And then you have Impact, who's came in last season and really, really dominated and did really well. We're third in the table. And, it's these two clubs who have really made their name here in WPSL, especially in Georgia, and they're going up against each other tonight. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for the matchup. I think it's interesting because you have a team that's so offensively driven like Decatur. I mean, first game 5-0, second game 6-0.
Yep.
And then you have Georgia Impact, who played their first game against a Nashville Rhythm, second in the nation, and held them to 2-1. Like, that's unheard of. Like, most of the other games that have happened, like, it's Nashville Rhythm is very good, and they have a very defensive-minded team too. Andujar and Maddie Hook, both from Georgia State, great players. They were absolutely on top of it every single time anyone from Nashville driven to their box. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be like a clash of I'm just excited. It's going to be so fun.
Yep. And in the Southeast, for those that don't know where things are, you've got folks that have various levels of starting their seasons. Nashville Rhythm right now at 4-0, 18 goals scored, 2 allowed in 4 matches. They're 4-0 out of the blocks. Decatur FC, once again, they're 2 matches. They've scored 11, and the number of goals they have allowed, 0. Right there. No goals allowed. When you get Jada Foose between the sticks, you can understand why. 865 Alliance out of the Knoxville area right now. 3 matches played. They're 2-1-0. They have the one draw that is the blemish on their record so far to keep it from being perfect. UFA is 2 matches in. They got a win and a draw. FC Birmingham, 1 win and 2 losses in their 3 matches. Georgia Impact, once again, they played just the 1 match so far this season, and then schedule compression is really going to take a peek at Coach Rob and his depth. They have the 1 loss. Chattanooga, you know about Chattanooga FC from your time up there at Fort Finley. They have 2 losses in their first 2 matches. They've scored 2 goals, given up 6. And then you have FC Nashville Wolves and Atlanta Fire, who have lost their matches so far this season. So that's what it looks like in the Southeast. And everybody's gravitating toward Nashville Rhythm. Everybody's looking at Decatur FC and anticipating Impact. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be a fun one. If you're within the sound of our voice, either live or taped, get to this match tonight. That's basically how we can phrase it.
Do it. It's going to be fun. I'm so excited. I know that I think me and Jason are going up there early because they do. They have their little pregame at the pub that's up there, across the street.
Yep,
I know we're getting up there early. I'll get some content for SDH. So
yep.
If you can't be there, you can look on our Instagram and you'll be there in spirit. But
yes.
You should be there.
Yeah. So if there's any way that you can sit there and lunchtime, you're just kind of, I just don't feel 100%. I think I'm going to have to leave the office. Then
exactly.
you might gravitate toward Decatur or something.
Agreed.
Like that and
just do it. It's fine.
Just head to O'Sullivan's. But once again, remember, O'Sullivan's is at the top of a hill. The Decatur High School Stadium is at the bottom of said hill. And so it's great going to the match because you're going downhill. You're going downhill to the stadium. Just remember to figure out a way to park so you're not traveling all the way back uphill to your car when the match is over.
I have parking, so
that's yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking for the civilians, not for folks that are covering the match.
Sorry,
Maddie's got it easy. Maddie's going to be in the parking lot of Decatur High School. She's got it easy. She just walks out one door, walks out the other door. She's fine. But for those of you who will be hopefully at least the 1,803 to match last attendance to be there tonight, just figure out your parking. Make sure that you can come up with a good midpoint so you're not going all the way down the hill and then all the way back up the hill when the match is over a little after 9 o'clock. So, no, it's a fun one tonight. 2 of the big names in the WPSL Southeast going at it. And once again, thanks to the teams and the coaches for putting up with our silly questions to lead things off on a Friday morning here on the morning show. So what else have we missed with you since you have last been here? You've been traveling the planet trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, I won't be coming back anytime soon because Dell already made me mad in the comments. So
yeah,
whatever.
I saw that. Yeah. So
my last appearance on the morning show. Goodbye.
She's out the door after Dell refers to Maddie as Lady Electra.
Listen. This is my calling card. Jay Heaps, please. I'll send you my address. Like, come on. Please.
Well, but the problem is, and this will be opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's the QR code for those of you who are watching and might think that this is an actual improvement over my face. Just keep the QR code up the entire time. That's the QR code for Kickoff Coffee. You use that QR code. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool, to quote Carlito. And it's Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Before we get into the discussion about Yorgos Giacomakis and everything else going on in Major League Soccer, Ryan Marcano set to join us in hour number 2 from TST because he's playing in it.
Oh, yeah, he is playing in it.
And so Ryan's going to join us at 10 o'clock and let us know what the experience is like. Our guest analyst for the SAA conference tournament and championships, Ryan Marcano. SDH's Ryan Marcano is actually playing in TST, and there's a lot of twos players playing in TST. It's nuts. So we're going to catch up with Ryan.
Ambrose is playing in it. You got Andrew Carlton.
You've got Bruletti.
Bruletti.
Brendan Lamb. It is.
You got a lot of people.
It is a massive.
Tom Dwyer.
Yeah, it is a massive Atlanta United influence.
And don't you dare forget Breck Shea.
Yes, Dane Breck and Shea.
Breck Shea.
Dane Breck and Shea, and then that fantastic head of lettuce he's got. So you got a lot of Atlanta United influence, but our influence at SDH is with Ryan Marcano, and Ryan's going to join us at 10 o'clock. But we've got Major League Soccer stuff to talk about news-wise, the news about Gigi, the news about NYCFC and Toronto FC. We got all that stuff to talk about, but that's not opening kickoff. Opening kickoff is jerseys. And because of Maddie and her quest for the Lady Electra, that's what triggered it this morning. It is there are jerseys that are really adding to Maddie's stacks of what she wants. Because I mean, outside of the Lady Electra, there are some stuff that's really looking fantastic. One Knox has done some tremendous work this season in USL League One. First off, the Sunsphere kit, their basic Sunsphere kit to as the homage to the World's Fair is great. But now they have done the Red Panda kit. I do not know if you have seen the Red Panda kit.
I think I have. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's so cool.
And it is an homage to some of the inhabitants of the zoo there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so it is a red kit for One Knox. And if you flip the kit, you have the face of one of the red pandas. Basically, it's inverted upside down on the inside, but if you flip it up in a goal celebration, you have the red panda face that is there. So, yes, we're all going to be very, very poor.
Yes, very poor.
When it comes to all of these jerseys.
Listen, and I'm just going to say it. I'm going to do a montage of every single time the Lady Electra jersey is mentioned.
Oh, but I was going to say, haven't you reached out to McKeever yet to sit there and find out about how you can get the One Knox gear on the air?
No, I have not, but I will. Now that you say it, I will. I'll reach out to him. We'll do a little one-on-one, and I'll be like, so where is it?
Hey, I'd like to rep One Knox on the show. How do I get the Sunsphere?
Yeah, how do I get it? Like, I'm just trying to help you guys.
Help me help you. Help me help you.
Literally.
What's going on at One Knox?
Exactly. I'm just going to tweet at Jay Heaps now. That's all I'm going to do. It'll be every day. It'll be like day one until Jay Heaps gives me my Lady Electra jersey.
Where's my Lady Electra jersey, Heaps?
Literally, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. So, and this is what Maddie is facing every single day. That she is in desirous of her Lady Electra kit.
Every day I wake up and I want to have a good day. I do, but then I remember I don't have it, and then I get sad.
Yes,
so it is what it is. But hey, other jersey news though. I did end up because of our little media day excursion. I went and got my name on the back of that jersey.
Player one.
I didn't get player one. I got Cruz with the number 7 because.
Where is it? Where is it right now?
I believe it's hanging up somewhere.
So go get it.
Okay, well hold on. I'll be right back. Give me a second.
Yeah, so go get it. We got
one moment.
Yes, one moment, please. As we get into the conversations, obviously with Yorgos Giacomakis, when you have Tier S sourcing like Cesar Luis Merlo and Fabrizio Romano sit there and say yes, it's looking like a $10 million deal. And we'll discuss that. And we'll get into all the discussions. Once again, when
I see that comment, and yes. Yes, it's Taylor Swift. So.
Okay. Yes. I cry a lot, but yeah. So there it is. Yes. There's Maddie Cruz with the number 7. So I cry a lot, but I'm
so productive.
Yes, but I'm so productive.
It's an art.
Yes.
So I'm probably gonna wear this jersey tonight too for Decatur because I don't have a Decatur shirt, and I figured Atlanta, Decatur.
Well, but they do have swag on.
They do, and so I think I might have to buy one on site.
Yeah,
so I really want one.
They do have the gear on site. They have the tent. I mean, it is well placed. It's like the second you clear and they've checked your tickets and you're good to go. The merch tent is right there when you walk right in on the home side.
So are you not coming to the match tonight, John?
No, the boss has her opening night for her play.
Oh, yay! That's awesome.
So it's at 8:00 and it's literally like 5 minutes away from Decatur FC. It's here in Decatur at Onstage. So if anybody,
I love that.
Well, if anybody wants to come by during the weekends in the month of June for the boss's play at Onstage Atlanta, please do so. And no, so yeah, it is. Yeah, so it is opening night for the boss's play, and so I will be over at Onstage Atlanta watching her, while you and Jason and probably 2,000 other folks are over at Decatur High School watching what's going on. Her play starts at 8, so what I may do is I may come by early, and just say hi to everybody, and then wander out with my credit card smoking as I leave the merch tent. So.
I'm definitely gonna have to get a little, because I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't have anything to wear, and I was like, well, I mean, I just got this new jersey.
Yes,
my name on it. Let me show it off.
And so and there's also the SDH gear that you could use since you're repping
that is very true.
All right, so Maddie has her. So one more time, show the. And you said it only took like 20 minutes.
It didn't take long. And also it was only like $24 to do it. Okay. So it wasn't bad. It was pretty great. And
So there's Maddie's player 1, and it is now a part of her. It is now a part of her arsenal as she waits for her Lady Electric kit and is going to go call McKeever up at One Knox and get her.
Also, the Richmond Kickers released this black and red one too. Yes. It's just so clean, and I just love it.
Yeah, I think that has to do with one of the local charities. Yeah, I saw
that. It does, and I think that's so cool. I love it. So I've bet every time any of these clubs releases a new jersey, I'm like,
we are all in serious.
The urge to buy one is so high because I used to not be a jersey person either. I got them, but now I scarves and jerseys. I'm collecting them I don't know.
See, this is what happens when she hangs out with folks that have office with the Studio HD here.
I know, and that's the thing. I'm moving into a new apartment soon, so I'm gonna have to revamp it and make a wall of just
studio space.
Yeah, exactly. And make a little studio space, and it'll be great.
Yes. All right. So that's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. And no, we're not going to rename the show Jerseys Down Here.
We could have our own show called Jerseys Down Here.
Yeah, that'll be on at 1:48 every Tuesday morning Eastern time. Jerseys Down Here
every morning at 1:38 a.m.
Yes, 1:38 to 1:48. We'll do Jerseys Down Here. But no, when the Euros come, I'm going to wear my Andorra jersey. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm so excited for the Euros. It's my favorite competition.
Next Friday, we're going to talk the Euros, and that's where everything collides. The Euros and Major League Soccer and everything collides. Well, Dell, it could be a segment if we, had the jerseys to actually promote. If we could have them here in the studios.
This is the calling card.
Hey.
I'm literally going to clip this section, and I'm going to post it and be like, so listen.
Hey, right here. We can here. Look at this new jersey. So
look at it; it's great.
Yeah, where other shows have their hosts wear them on Fridays, we would just be promoting them whenever they show up. So we're not just going to hang on to it by what we wear on a Friday. We will be promoting it 7 days a week,
this will be my last thought. The Carolina Ascent one too is really, really.
Yeah, the Carolina Ascent one. Yeah, that reminds me of the old Denver Nuggets Lego jersey from the 80s. Very, very cool. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Folks are saying, keep that QR code up, John. Your face looks a lot better. That's a QR code, Kickoff Coffee. You click on that, and you go and you use the code Soccer Down Here 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10% reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Housekeeping, there's the Marshall Islands scarf. Buy it. You help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. We are tracking down newly appointed women's head coach, Katie Smith. We're going to have a 1v1 with her and find out what it's like for her to be a part of the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. 32 if you want Abby to come by and drop it, or if you want to see me or see us or see anybody and just hand it to you in person, you can fill out a form in the Discord. DM me, DM the show, email me, email the show if you want it shipped to you. It's 32 plus another 5. And Maddie Cruz is a part of her senior project. I don't know how many folks can sit there and actually say that you're an international fashion model promoting a soccer federation, but Maddie can actually say that is what she did as a part of her senior internship.
I'm trying to show it. It's like in that corner. You'll see it right there.
And took over. Yeah, see, there it is. Yeah, and took over SDH as the morning show producer and a contributor. All right. Ryan Marcano set to join us at 10 o'clock from TST, and we'll find out what the experience has been like from him. Obviously, news around Major League Soccer, specifically around Atlanta United. The Tier S sourcing is saying that it's a here we go. When Fabrizio Romano gives you a here we go, it's a here we go, and very rarely is a here we go a here we gone. So it looks like Gigi is heading to Cruz Azul. Price tag $10 million, and the contract for Gigi is until 2028. According to sources, and so now we wait to see when Atlanta United circles back around and says, "Okay, this is officially official. It'll be come the summer window or whatever." Because remember, the Liga MX window does not open until June 24th. So this is a deal that is 17 days before it actually can happen. Fabrizio Romano says, "Here we go. Deal in place. $10 million guaranteed fee." Medical test and travel due to take place next week. And this is yesterday. Fabrizio Romano says, all approved by Atlanta United tonight. Contract valid until 2028 for Yakimakis in Mexico. All agreed with his agent, Blash Hosseini. So that is where we are with Gigi heading to Cruz Azul, according to Fabrizio Romano. So that is step one, Maddie, in what could be a very, very active summer window for Atlanta United.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's a good move. I really do. I think it's good. It's better. It's a good transaction for both parties. I think, exactly, Michael. It's like Gigi. It's good for Gigi. It's good for the club. Gigi gets to go and play and earn a little bit more money and play for Cruz Azul side. And that's phenomenal. Getting to go play in a Liga MX, that's great. And then you also have, for the club, we got him, I want to say, for $4 million. Yes, we got him for $4 million. We're trading him for $10 million. Mm-hmm. So that's really good. And
good piece of business, as the folks say.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, like it sucks because, you really wanted to see him get going. And when he did. It's just injuries kind of plagued, and he came back, and it's kind of just been off and on a little bit. And I think it's a great trade. I think it's going to be good for everyone. I'm really happy for Gigi. I think he's going to do great things over there, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and you're talking about someone who is newly married. You're talking about
exactly
generational money. They were saying, I think, $4.5 million US. I think was the number that he was going to be getting with his salary for La Máquina. Mm-hmm. And look, if you're going to sign a contract through 2028 and you're going to make generational money, newly married, all these kinds of things, I get it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and also too, that you're playing for a really good club too. A club that has had a lot of success, and you're going to get some good playing time. And I feel like too, it's like a new start almost. And I think that's really good. But I agree with you. I think it's like, you have to think about that. That is the one thing where it's the one thing where I don't think it's like people don't realize oh yeah, well, they have a family, and a lot of this is okay, what can I do for my family? And so I think it's a good deal. I think it's a really good deal, especially with everything going on. I really do. I think he's going to do great things over there. I really do.
Yeah. And so Bart says it feels like an abandoned ship time for Atlanta United. So I'm wondering how Captain Garth writes the course and finds new and better, in parentheses, crewmates. It's not, Bart, I would say abandoned ship time. No.
Because this deal has been happening even before Pineda was released. That has happened way before that. Rumors have been circulating for about 2 weeks before any of this happened. So I think it was going to happen, whether all of this happened or not. I think the deal was going to happen. I do. Because especially Fabrizio Romano, he's a very, very, very good source when it comes to this stuff. Mm-hmm. If he's reporting on it like 2 weeks ago, it was most likely going to happen. It was a matter of like when it was going to be confirmed and if it is going to be confirmed, like everything like that. But I mean, I figured he would be gone in the summer window. I would be shocked if he wasn't. Just because it's a deal you can't pass up. But I feel like Gigi was already going to be gone for the summer window. I don't think this really had anything to do with everything that did happen with Pineda leaving or anything like that. Mm-hmm. That's just what I think though. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't think of it as a banning ship because I feel like
and I know that a lot of folks are looking at the number of teams that you have to hopscotch to get into the playoffs. Right now, you're 3 out of a playoff spot, and yes, it would be the 8-9. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But you still to get into the playoffs, and everybody can sit there and say, yes, I know half of the teams in Major League Soccer get into the playoffs now because of the 8-9. Look, you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. That's the attitude that I'm taking into this situation. But we also know that this could be a very, very crazy summer window. Once again, you have, say, $6 million. If you say the 4, if you take that 4 that you've invested, you cut that away. You got $6 million that you should be able to have at some point to invest. And I know that Tom Russo is like, okay, so what aging European star? No, that's not the way that Atlanta United operates. LAG and the LAFC are believing in Handsome Men FC, and I know that Bart wants us to be Handsome Men FC. But Bart says, why can't we be Handsome Men FC? Atlanta United was, and Bart can vouch for this, that Atlanta United at one point was Handsome Men FC. You go back to Tito Villalba and a couple of other players. And I know that Bart could probably set up a good starting lineup for Handsome Men FC a couple of years ago with Atlanta United. You're possibly, I mean, if Thiago balls out at the Olympics, Thiago Almada's interest becomes public again. And I say public because just because we don't hear anything doesn't mean, for like 9 negatives in a sentence, just because we don't hear anything doesn't mean that things aren't happening or that there isn't interest and that folks' phones aren't lighting up, So it's you could be, and Jared has mentioned possibly Caleb Wiley. PSV was mentioned as being interested in Caleb Wiley. So
especially with how well he might perform in the Olympics, I would be shocked if trade rumors or people weren't getting an interest in Caleb Wiley after the Olympics. I really wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, and so Bart says losing Gigi makes us less handsome. Understandable. I understand that because, because as we talk about HMFC, I know that so Bart, I would anticipate that as Bart is talking about Handsome Men FC, I would anticipate that the Handsome Men of Major League Soccer calendar could be coming out with Olivier Giroud on all 12 pages. For starting with the summer window this year and then going to the summer window next year. It's a summer window to summer window calendar. And it's just 12 different pages of Olivier Giroud. Here's Olivier Giroud in November. And here's Olivier Giroud in January. So that's what and Tom, I was going to be getting to your Gomes comment here. And would players want to come without a new coach in place? I mean, that's what the discussions are. It's do you bring in a new coach, understanding the philosophy? Hey, this is the chicken and egg argument, Del. Do you bring in players knowing what the philosophy is going to be, or do players lay out knowing that there is not a coach, even if you have a full-time coach, even if a philosophy is in place? So that's the gazillion-dollar question.
And I mean, also too, Rob. He did this before interim head coach, had a great record as an interim head coach.
4-2, right?
Yeah, very, very good. And he stuck out. Like, he was there through all of that. Like, Rob has been there, I want to say, am I doing my math? 2018?
Yeah, he was with the first team because he was with the twos the year.
Yeah, he was with the two. So he knows all that stuff. He knows the philosophy. He knows the culture. He knows what needs to be done here in Atlanta. And I mean, if you bring someone in, it's likely Rob is more likely if depending on how the season goes, if you bring in a new coach, I would assume more than likely Rob would stay as the assistant coach of this team.
Yeah.
So that also gives you that leg up of like, I'm still going to be here. I know what this culture and this philosophy is. And I think that's why you have something as great as a Rob Valentino stepping up, because he knows what this club is. He knows what the culture of this club is. He knows the philosophy. He knows what needs to be done. He knows the expectations of this club. And I think that's really important, especially moving on into the rest of the season. You could still get some transfers, get some new players in. You still can do that. I think why not at this point? Try it, get some players, see if they'll come. But I mean, I don't think it would be too much of a hindrance if it's like, oh, I don't want to come because of the interim head coach. I feel like Rob will still probably be there at the end of this tenure. He'll still be there going into next season, depending on how the coaching decision goes. We know that depending on how the season goes for Rob, it's likely he might be considered.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that too. Like it's all just a piecing the puzzle pieces together and then seeing what happens. Like it's all of us just kind of in a waiting game and just kind of waiting to see what will happen. But I don't think that it should be like a hindrance. I think we definitely should look for players to come in and hopefully want to work with us.
Yeah. Tom says, seeing talk of Everton's Andre Gomes moving to Major League Soccer, no specific team mentioned, but what's significant is that he would immediately have Giroud competition for handsomest man in Major League Soccer, LOL. And Alex does get into the XH of it all. And the losing Gigi is a hit on your expected handsomeness, as Alex.
We should make this a new stat.
It isn't. Well, it already has been. So as of Alex creating the stat at 9:52 5 minutes ago, it is now really a stat, at least here on the show, where we are discussing what's going on inside Major League Soccer. XG can be either expected goals, expected grilling. XH is expected handsomeness. And so expected handsomeness is something that has to be considered, I would think, in some markets. I mean, in LA, you've got to have expected handsomeness. I would imagine that the XH would have to be very, very high.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know where Hugo Lloris would be in the XH scale, but we have to keep an eye on these kinds of things. And so what I will do is I will ask Bart and Alex to continue to work on the XH scale for us and figure out where teams are in this regard. So there is a history at Atlanta United of a high XH, and now it is up to, I guess, Atlanta United to try and continue to build that XH back to where it was in previous years. So that's the big thing that is attached to all of this. What aging Euro striker will replace him? Don't know. I don't think that is going to apply here. I don't think. Because of the growth that goes through the academy and what you have. I know that you will be looking for a striker, so it would probably be someone. If you're looking for XH/DOB, date of birth, off the driver's license, it's probably someone who has been a force in their mid-20s, mid to upper 20s, 25, 26, if you're looking for that kind of a presence. But what kind of individual are you looking for? Are you looking for the power forward? Are you looking for the individual that's going to give you speed up top? That's the question here as we go forward philosophically when you're looking at Atlanta United. And deal with one of the more important questions for Gigi as he is set to move to Cruz Azul. Yeah, but can he get Chick-fil-A there?
Listen, I'm just saying. Listen.
Don't think so.
No.
I do not think so.
Tragic.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yes. And Alex says he does what he can, but his handsomeness can only extend so far. Dell says, has Garth been through a similar situation in Seattle or not? Did Schmetzer slide in after Siggy? Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was Siggy Schmidt goes, Schmetzer goes in as the trusted assistant, and the philosophy was there. Everything was set in place. So it was, if you want to call it a real estate term, it was a turnkey operation where philosophy was in place, academy was in place, spending ideas were in place. And so you knew what you were doing. And so everything was there with the system. And so that was the way it was in Seattle when Brian took over for Schmiggy. Bart says, look, we aren't Cincinnati or Columbus. We should expect a high level of XH here in Atlanta. I would imagine that Bart's anticipation level of XH would be higher than in other markets. And I would anticipate that he would also have a very high XH anticipated. True? High level of expected handsomeness on a roster because it's Atlanta, where the players play.
Where the players play.
Emilio is a double business major. Wow, he majored in business. So that's very serious. Understand, good piece of business. Wait to see what we do with the money. If it goes, it won't go in Arthur's pocket. Don't have a manager. Good business in sports is different from good business in business. No, you're not breaking the bubble at all.
No.
And no, but it is what
that's the point. You want to I don't think the Holt 4-H striker should stop because we have an interim coach. That should not happen.
Right.
There's been a lot of situations where players from all over different leagues have brought in a player to help the club when they have an interim head coach. That's kind of the business. You have to know that sometimes it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
And that's the case here. And that's exactly it. I mean, also, I don't, it's very different than actual business. Like, it's all about, it like is kind of timing, but then it's like not kind of timing. And then it's like, sports business is weird. I'm so happy I decided not to do that in college. Cause
I could see you as an agent. Yeah.
Really?
No, well,
I was going to say, I was like, what?
Yeah. Maddie Cruz, agent. Show me the money. One of those.
Oh gosh. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. And so we did see the photos. Abby's like, so Sleesh took off for nuptials. Yes. Mazel tov to the crazy kids. And so very, 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 very congratulations to Bart and the boss.
Yeah.
For, the pictures that have now been. Abby's asking if it's a done deal. Not a done deal in the eyes from Atlanta United outbound, because I don't think you can really say anything until the opening of a window involving a player. But Fabrizio Romano's giving it here we go status. So we're reporting it as a Fabrizio Romano here we go. And a Cesar Luis Merlo, he doesn't quite have a here we go. But when Merlo and Romano are sitting there saying yes, then we just wait for the other side of the equation. But remember that the Liga MX window does not open for another 17 days. So it is one-sided right now. It is Tier S sourcing, reporting what's going on outbound from Atlanta United. And obviously, no, Atlanta United is not should not necessarily be in a position to respond to the media. So don't be surprised if anything. Literally, if anything happens between now and the 24th, it would be from Atlanta United's perspective. But the window opens on the 24th. And if you are saying something before a window opens, I don't know if you're breaking confidences or getting a finger wag from the other team or anything like that. I don't know how that plays in the world of public reporting. But when you have two top A tier S sources saying that this is going down, that's what we're saying, is that they're saying it's going down, and then you move from here. Della's saying that Griezmann is in Miami. Do we know if Garth has taken any flights south recently? I think that the Moss brothers pretty much have put a bubble over Fort Lauderdale. Over FLL, Moss brothers are not letting anybody land near the new stadium. And so it's like a plane comes in, and if there's anybody from an opposing team, it just bounces off the bubble and has to like fly into Miami or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not allowed. Unk's ready for some steps forward. Abby, so how does that impact the value of my son's Gigi kit that he won during the halftime contest? Did Gigi sign it? I don't know. That's a big question. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Dell, I want ugly players because they have more of a chip on their shoulder, more physical. So Dell is looking for a lower XH in his players. So that's intriguing. That's an intriguing tack. That's an intriguing tack. To have a lower XH means that you're taking care of more business. I'm Tom, and Tom is wondering why I would say that there would not be an 18-month rental on a player, 35 or 33 range, solid season and a half to 2.5. I'm going with empirical evidence from the past, and not having a late 20s, early 30s power forward up there up top. A lot of it is going to depend on who they bring in to figure out where things are going to be stylistically. But I would just say with past evidence, I would say that the direction that you're going is someone mid to late 20s, and you're looking for a specific style. If you're looking for that power forward like we had with the Giacomakis, then I see where you're going to add with the speed from behind to a power forward up top. If it's a faster individual, like I said, we'll see. You have the speed on the wings with Saba. You've got Daniel Rios behind. You've got Shonday Tyler. So you're looking for someone to counter Daniel and Jamal. And so that's why I would think it would be that power forward-y kind of a thing from late 20s. And so, yes, it is how it is reinvested. Oh, Alex with a bulletin. Cruz Azul is in Mexico City. There is a Chick-fil-A in Mexico City.
Dang.
Wow.
So he gets more money and he gets a Chick-fil-A?
I guess so, yeah. And so Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I did not know that. That's wild stuff. I don't know. Unk thinks it's a punt on the season. Yeah, and Dell is like, it might be done. They can't announce the deal till the window opens, and that's my thought.
Yeah.
In anticipation of the window, you can't really say anything because, well, the window's not open, and so that's what you're staring at with all of that lovely activity. Yeah, so it might be like a tampering thing. It's like, well, you can't announce it because the window's not open. Okay, then we won't announce anything. Cruz Azul's not announcing anything. Atlanta United's not announcing anything. You just can't do anything. You don't want to narc on the window, I guess, is the best way to say it. Morning, Andy. The left coast is the best coast. I don't think it's a punt on the season, Unk. I don't, because remember, you're still chasing after a trophy in Open Cup, and you're, like I said, you're only 3 points out of a playoff spot, and then anything can happen. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't think it's a punt on the season. Let's see. If Beckham wasn't so handsome, he would have still been at Manchester United. Caused the fallout of Sir Alex. See, now we're going into internet. This is soccer over there, XH, this morning. This is where we've gone. Window's too late in the season for a new striker to accomplish anything. Michael doesn't believe the season's done, but it's pretty much done. Waiting for Ryan Marcano to see if he can get a signal out of TST, considering what we've seen out of TST so far this season. And it's been crazy. I mean, legitimately. You look at TST with everything that is all over the place. It is wild, absolutely. Given that Michael is traveling to City Park, Michael is going to the matchup in St. Louis. I need feedback because what I would ask for anybody going to St. Louis for the matchup against St. Louis City SC, because it has to be in all caps. Watch the True South episode on ESPN Plus before you end up with your travel plans, because you need like an extra 2 or 3 days just to sample all of the different food. I mean, like Italian and Eastern European, all of that. So watch the True South St. Louis episode before you go to find out where you need to go eat and what you need to go eat. So very, very cool stuff there.
Also, too, I'm sorry. I'm drawing back to the conversation about the season being done or anything like that.
Yeah.
You got to think about the other competitions we have going on. You got Open Cup, you got Leagues Cup. There is opportunities to stress it. I don't think you should kind of sit back and be like, oh, well, the season's done. We're not going to do anything to make it better.
Yeah.
Like that. It's kind of counterintuitive. You want to build up. You want to build up and you want to keep going. I mean, exactly. You gotta look forward. I mean, that's kind of what this is right now. You look forward and you make do with what you can. And you push. I mean, there's been a couple teams that have, pushed through, made it to the playoffs, and then they kind of run through. Obviously, is it not where we want to be? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But that's something you got to look at for next year. Obviously, Gar said it. I mean, he said, obviously our goals were to have home field advantage in the playoffs. With the math right now, it's going to be a little iffy on if that happens. But
you're going to have to go on a run of runs.
You are literally going to have to win every game.
Yeah.
Almost every game if you want that to happen. And I mean, also, too, who's to say other teams can't fall off? I mean, that's the thing here. We're only looking at us. There's so many different factors that can come into it. But I think saying our season is done in we shouldn't focus any of that. I'm like, come on. We got to try to build something here. You have to look for something good to come out of it. And whether that's we focus on an Open Cup, go on and try and win a trophy there. Leagues Cup, listen, I know some of y'all might not like it or anything like that, but hey, it's a chance to win a trophy, so try it.
Yeah. Leagues Cup, yeah. Bart wants to know if anybody's going to Salt Lake City. That will be an interesting trip. I have not. Bart is the first person I've heard say that he's going to Salt Lake. Bart has put on his schedule a bunch of different places to go, and going to Salt Lake, that's a good one. And
I want to try to go. I feel like it'd be fun.
Well, and St. Louis coming up on the 22nd. So, like I said, Michael, watch that episode of True South. Find out all of the places. Ryan Marcano. Let me see. Where is Ryan playing with TST? Hang on. See, now you're having me look. Ryan Marcano. Pasha Luxury, I think, is TST, if I'm not mistaken. Alexis Isturia, Atlanta United U19s in Clayton State. Christian Waglin from Oglethorpe and Georgia Revolution. So let's see. I'm trying to see who else I've missed here. There's a lot of folks. I think Ryan is with the Pasha Luxury group, Pasha Luxury FC. So Ryan is a part of that group that's got the Clayton State, the Georgia Revs. Kobe Perez from Tormenta is attached to that roster. Justin Little from Georgia Southern and Tormenta. So there's some local hook in Pasha Luxury. So that's where Ryan is, and so you end up with Sneaky Fox and Pasha, all actives. Yesterday, 2 days ago. So it's fun to see all of this insanity that is going on with TST, where you've got Giovinco, you've got Sergio Aguero getting knocked off his pins and getting to start a fight. It was Nani trying to be the cooler head yesterday with the Nani and Aguero match.
Didn't Breck Shea almost get into a fight too?
I'm sure. I'm sure that Breck.
I swear I saw something. He was getting a little tussle with someone else.
Yes, and that's the official word. It is tussle. That is the
tussle.
Yeah, that is the official word. So that's what happens when you start to hang out. The real estate team is sponsored here out of Atlanta. So there's a lot of stuff there. Bart says going to Salt Lake because where else will we play out there? Scheduled the LA teams every year, so you miss out on the other cool destinations. And this is a point that Bart makes that this is absolutely valid. Still no Austin away trip. There's been no Austin away trip yet on the schedule.
Really?
Never. They haven't been to Austin, so you can't have the Tyler Wolf, Josh Wolf, bowl. I went to the first event at Q2. I went to the first event at Q2 Stadium. It was the U.S. Women's National Team friendly against Nigeria, and Carly Lloyd. I think it was like her 9 gazillionth match, and they presented her with the jersey, and her parents were there, and her family was there, and there was a lot of family rejoicing. It's too small. The Q2 is too small, and it's out in the suburbs. And when I was there a couple years ago, it was, like I said, it was a 20-minute ride out to the suburbs, and you literally had to wait forever to get an Uber or a cab when the match was over. So basically, match is over. You go walking up a hill. You go up a 2-lane road through an office building complex. You wait on the road, and then you hope that the tag that you keep an eye on your Uber, you're looking down the road to see when your Uber guy gets there, and it is a long blanking line of folks. I don't know if the situation has improved when it comes to transportation in and around Q2, but the building itself is too small. And to have Atlanta United take on Austin would be fantastic because you need to be in Austin, but the venue's too small, and there were transportation issues getting in and getting out. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But Q2, maybe Q3 will be bigger. The thing is that there's no place to expand Q2 except in the one end zone, because the stadium was jammed into this space. And if you build out over the end zones and you create like a second deck, you can only do it in the end zones, and it seats like 21 or 22. And if you do a second deck over one out of one end zone, I think the north end zone, you're going over season ticket holder parking. You're basically going over the season ticket holder parking lot if you want to build out that way. The only one is to take the other end zone and build up that way, and you can do that. That's easy. You could do it kind of like they do at Lumen, where you have that one end zone that's detached from everything, and you have the separate section. That's the only place where they can build and add more seats, but I don't know how many seats that you can build there. But no, I've been there, and it's too small. They undersold the idea of Q2, and it gets crowded. The walkways and the field level get very crowded. You're right there on top of everything. Do not get me wrong, but it is a very crowded venue, and they undersold the idea of how many folks would want to go watch an Austin match. It's just too small a venue, I think, for today's Major League Soccer. I'm just saying.
Yep. Do we want to get into the craziness that was what MLS released about NYCFC versus Toronto?
We do. Yeah. So let me get through TST here real quick. Like I said, waiting for Ryan Marcano to see if Ryan can extricate himself from TST. Brett got a yellow, and McAfee told him sometimes you have to do that and encouraged it. Of course, if Breck is not on McAfee's team, then by the way, the crane kick finish by Grella.
I saw this. What?
Yeah, we got to bring Poppy Miller on the show at some point and have her talk about Grella's crane kick goal off of the
that was insane
cross from McAfee. And then Emilio's like, I'd be aggressive if we don't have very good replacement pieces for the 30 to 35 from Gigi and Thiago. Garth hasn't shown in the past he can think big and only frugal, which can work, but realize he doesn't have to guard the wallet. I think he gets that as the CEO. I think that, he has mentioned that that Atlanta is, it's nirvana. It's a place where you really can do some things. I don't think that Garth is pinned in with the wallet like he might have been at times in Seattle. Okay, here's what's going on with NYC and Toronto. With NYC and Toronto, we'll start with our friends at Hudson River Blue with how they wrote it. And it came out yesterday afternoon in the news dump. Major League Soccer issued a statement clearing NYCFC head coach Nick Cushing after Toronto FC head coach John Herdman accused him of assaulting a player, which was linked to be Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy because of the evidence and the age. On March 16th at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Herdman made the accusation that Cushing punched a 19-year-old Toronto player at halftime in the tunnel, leading from the field at Yankee Stadium almost 2 months after the alleged assault in the postgame press conference May 11, after losing a match to NYCFC that ended in an on-field confrontation between the two teams. You saw Sean Johnson go chasing after a player. He got a one-match suspension, things like that. Herdman was later suspended by Major League Soccer for his conduct following the May 12 match at BMO Field. Hudson River continues. All in all, 6 suspensions handed out because of that game, 5 to Toronto, 1 to NYC. Toronto forward Federico Bernardeschi got a second yellow and a sending off in stoppage. Sean Johnson and forward Prince Owusu and NYC defender Strahinja Tanasejevic received reds after the game ended. Reggie Larea was suspended by disco. Suspensions to Owusu and Tanasejevic were extended. Yesterday, MLS followed a formal request made public by NYC asking the league to investigate Herdman's allegation. Cushing categorically denied that he punched any Toronto FC player or staff member. Full statement from Major League Soccer. March 16th, and I'm going to paraphrase it because unless you want me to read it in official press release voice. On March 16, there was an altercation between players and staff. NYCFC and Toronto FC started on the field, continued into the stadium tunnels. During the next meeting of the two clubs, May 11, the teams engaged in an altercation that led to several player and coach suspensions. The league conducted a review of both incidents and determined that players and staff from both teams involved in the altercation exhibited poor judgment and engaged in behavior contradictory to MLS values. While no additional suspensions or fines have been issued, head coaches and executives from both clubs were required to meet with Don Garber to discuss league expectations for behavior and conduct. Literally, that's it. That is all that was put in there about the incident with Major League Soccer. So right now, there was nothing else that was put in there about John Herdman. So if Cushing was cleared, if we take this logic, if Cushing was cleared by the league, then I think that it is logical to follow along that John Herdman, and I'm going to use this wording for so the lawyers here at SDH don't sit there and pull their hair out. So it would make sense that John Herdman, in his assessment of events back in March, was incorrect. I will phrase it that way. So once again, the lawyers at SDH don't get mad at me. There are others that will go further and sit there and say that because of what was released by Major League Soccer yesterday, that John Herdman's got some splaining to do. Because if John Herdman, and it was backed up by Jonathan Osorio, I believe, in the press conference, that if John Herdman and subsequently Jonathan Osorio say that an incident happened and Nick Cushing was cleared by Major League Soccer, then something is wrong with how it was interpreted by our friends at Toronto FC. I have not seen anything about any kind of further punishment or discussion involving John Herdman. So if John Herdman and subsequently Jonathan Osorio got this so wrong and Nick Cushing was cleared, then there probably should be some more trips to the big red truck to discuss things with John Herdman and anybody else at Toronto FC and the league office in the big tower in New York City. So that is where we are right now with that particular incident, Maddie Cruz.
Yeah. So they said that Nick Cushing punched a guy in halftime?
Yeah, it was allegedly in halftime. It was a 19-year-old, and then subsequently the only 19-year-old on the roster on that date was Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. So, it was punching a player, alleged. And so if we need to go back over the incident, we can go back over the incident itself.
I think with the whole incident, I saw it all, but I saw then after it, they said that happened. But is there proof of that?
There was apparently cameras in that particular part of the stadium, but apparently the cameras and the recording devices were not working or running the entire time, according to John Herdman. John Herdman, and once again, this is dating back to about a month ago. So after what happened on the field in the matchup the second time, not the first time, John Herdman makes the allegation one of his players was punched by the coach when the two teams played each other at Yankee Stadium March 16th. Herdman later clarified that the coach was Nick Cushing. So Herdman's allegation, once again, this is from our friends at Hudson River Blue. Herdman makes the allegations one of his players, Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, punched by the coach of NYC back in March during the post-game press conference, not at the post-game press conference, but during the post-game press conference. Herdman makes the allegation that a player, a 19-year-old, was punched by Nick Cushing on the matchup on March 16th. Jonathan Osorio and Herdman, head coach, makes the allegation following up a statement by Osorio that linked the on-field scuffles from May 11 back to what happened March 16th, animosity from the last game. Osorio further alleged that the coach and several NYC players assaulted a Toronto player during that game in March, quote, so we're just letting them know we don't forget about that. At the end of that particular section of the press conference for Toronto FC, Herdman asked to clarify he was referring to Nick Cushing. The Toronto head coach confirmed it by replying that was the off-the-record report that came into the dressing room at halftime. A young 19-year-old said he got cornered and punched in the face, end quote. The only 19-year-old was Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, who was the TFC goal scorer in the match back in March. Cushing had his press conference on May 11th simultaneous to John Herdman's. They couldn't ask, obviously, to respond to the allegations Herdman made because they were talking at the same time. John Molinaro from Canadian Press and TFC Republic spoke with Cushing at BMO and reported that the NYC coach categorically denied, in quotation marks, he hit any TFC player at Yankee Stadium in March. Cushing reportedly told Molinaro, quote, I can honestly say as a head coach, I've done 348 games. I've never laid a finger on a player. And then Hudson River Blue says they spoke with a rep from NYC who said Cushing denies all allegations, never punched a player. And so then Disco looks at it. Does Herdman have proof? Point 6. No, at least none that he shared with the press. Herdman and Osorio didn't see the alleged incident take place according to the statements they gave in the press conference, instead repeated what they claimed they were told. Neither mentioned eyewitness accounts. Herdman said that the alleged incident took place in a part of Yankee Stadium where there are no cameras.
But here's my thing. if the kid got punched,
Mm-hmm.
am I crazy to believe that there would be like bruising
In
or some sort of mark or anything?
you would think, yeah.
So then why was that not evidence? And if that's the case and we didn't see it, because did he? Okay, if it was, I'm sorry, I'm trying to piece everything together.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
So
Absolutely.
if halftime happened and he got punched and he was one of the goal scorers in that game,
He was,
he
yeah, he
came
was
back out,
the
he
goal
came
scorer.
on the pitch again.
Yeah.
Did anyone see anything weird? Or did anyone like was there like any bruising? Did anyone see anything? Did anyone be like, oh, that's weird? He has like a little bruised eye, or like I don't know.
Yeah, where he's got he got punched. Like in the old days when you're like 12 and you sit there and you take your knuckle from your middle finger and you hit it and you see the red mark. That kind
Yeah.
of.
So I just like that. That's my thing. So I'm like, unless like because for the record, I'm sorry. I'm just like if you get punched,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's a really bad punch, don't you?
There-
Isn't there something?
There should be. You would think that there might be proof of impact from.
Yeah, because like that could be evidence. And
Mm.
wouldn't you want that to be evidence if that's the case?
Yeah. So Dale says, "Wait, is there just no proof?" Apparently.
Because like I knew about the scuffle, I knew about that. I assumed because that happened, I assumed it was in the post game. I didn't realize it was at halftime. I just wasn't reading into it.
Halftime in the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Halftime in the tunnel or the concourse, yes.
And in the March 16 one, that's not the one where they had the blow up. That was in the later one. So was the March 16th game like just kind of cordial at the end, or did they just kind of
no.
Okay, I figured it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
But like I'm confused. I'm just really confused because I'm like
you're not the only one.
like because I mean if the league went and did all this stuff like they said everything's fine and I'm confused because wouldn't there be any sort of like evidence? Wouldn't you think that maybe they took a photo that way they have the evidence like hey what do you explain that for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, at halftime, and I'll go ahead and I'll post where I'm pulling information and such. Hudson River posted and pieced together back in March the incidents that kind of were there at halftime. Cushing and Insigne exchanged words right at the half. Tanasiewicz sprinted on the pitch and got between Cushing and Insigne, and then Insigne and Cushing keep talking, and Cushing got a push in the back from Davy Flores. So it was the very beginning of an exchange between Cushing and Insigne. Cushing and Insigne went at it for a while. They jawed back and forth for a bit, and then apparently it went in the tunnel. So Tanasiewicz approaches Insigne, put himself between the two. They apparently Cushing and Insigne keep going, and then got a shove from Davy Flores, and then Cushing addressed it in the post-match press conference back on March 16th. So, so it was, there are, when you have a situation like this and you have a statement come from Major League Soccer, it does give you more questions than answers, at least for me anyway, when you have a situation happen like this. So now that we have reached this point, the out, I think, in this, and looking at this like the SDH lawyers, consulting the SDH legal team here. So you have where was the wording? Was where where was it? It was early in the so Herdman says that was the off-record report that came into the dressing room at halftime. A young 19-year-old said he got cornered and punched in the face. So it is the information that Herdman and Osorio are getting at the time. I think this is where the off-ramp here for Toronto, where Herdman says he confirmed that he was referring to Nick Cushing. That was the off-record report that came into the dressing room at halftime. A young 19-year-old said he got cornered and punched in the face. So, Cushing categorically denies it and all that. But I think that's the off-ramp for Toronto FC here, is that This was the information that I was given at the time, and I was going on that. So that's and Michael, someone has lied and should face ramifications. And Michael being the patented optimist about MLS, he's like, I'm sure nothing will be done. That's where we are. So if Nick Cushing has been cleared by Major League Soccer, that means in turn that Toronto FC, somewhere in Toronto FC, someone ain't saying stuff that's right. And we don't know who that is. But I think the off-ramp for Jonathan Osorio and John Herdman is that they were going off of the information that they were told at the time. The off-record report said that a 19-year-old was punched in the face. So this is where
was the thing that he got punched in the face, or was it like he got like just punched in the arm? Like what was?
Oh, it was the quote. The quote from John Herdman is that he was punched in the face.
Okay.
That a 19-year-old was punched in the face.
Okay.
Punched by the coach.
So then,
this is the money quote. That was the off-record report that came into the dressing room at halftime. A young 19-year-old said he got cornered and punched in the face, end quote. That would be Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. And then, once again, asked to clarify. Herdman was asked to clarify he was referring to Nick Cushing, confirmed it by saying that money quote. So, yeah. It was the matchup that happened March 16, and then you had all the chaos that happened May 11, on the field scuffles and all of that. So right now, like I said, if we take this, Godzilla Gaming, you're out the door. So if we take the information as is, and if we take the transitive property of what we're staring at here, if Nick Cushing has been cleared, then that means that there is nothing wrong with the NYCFC perspective. That does, however, mean if you take the transitive property forward, that there is something wrong with the Toronto FC version of events. Therefore, someone, I know, Del, I lost you at transitive. It's basically if A, then B. We do not know if Major League Soccer interviewed Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. We do not know that.
There's something along the line got mixed up. Mm-hmm. Like I don't like something got mixed up. Like here's my thing is why would you, if you're a player, why would you lie about being punched by the head coach?
Yeah.
Like, listen, I scuffle between players, like we know that stuff happens and all that stuff, but to accuse the head coach of like punching you in the face?
Yeah, but once again, we don't know who came forward for Toronto FC to tell John Herdman or Jonathan Osorio that Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy was punched in the face. We do not know who that individual is.
Yeah.
And Herdman, and like I said, I'm using this off-ramp here. And so if I'm providing the legal case in defense for Toronto FC, if you're a fan of somebody other than Toronto FC or not a fan of John Herdman, I apologize. If John Herdman and Jonathan Osorio are being given information that is secondhand, yes, this is what, hey, I was told by someone that Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy got punched in the face. We don't know who that someone is. We don't know if it was the player. We don't know if it was an eyewitness. We don't know if it was someone with the team. We don't know if it's someone wearing a team jacket. We don't know if it's someone, we don't know if it's Brett Boone or Aaron Boone or, Aaron Judge. We don't know who it was. We don't know who that was at Yankee Stadium, where apparently there were no cameras, so there is no video evidence of this. So that's the key here. We don't know who gave Herdman/Osorio and or the information about Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy getting punched in the face. And so that's where the gears come to grind here. If Nick Cushing has been cleared, then that means the NYCFC perspective, okie doke, everything's fine over here. So something is up on the Toronto FC side, but we don't know from whom and what the chain of information is. This is playing telephone. So we have to work backward. So if John Herdman and Jonathan Osorio in that press conference are sitting there and saying X, who gave them the information where John Herdman confirmed in that press conference that it was Nick Cushing that apparently, allegedly, like I said, because we didn't see it and there is no video evidence, that allegedly Nick Cushing hit Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy in the face. We don't know where that information came from. Once again, NYCFC cleared. So we have to look at this from the Toronto perspective and work backward. Press conference. Herdman says it's Cushing. Herdman and Osorio say 19-year-old got punched in the face. Who told them in a venue that has no cameras that it was the head coach of NYCFC that punched Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy in the face? That's where we are here. Where did the information come from the Toronto FC side? Where did the information come inbound to Toronto? I know you're getting a headache from all of this, but we have to work backward with this information if NYCFC has been cleared.
And you also got to look at it too of like when the accusation was made. It all happened March 16th, but Herdman didn't come out and say that it happened until May 11th.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the other part of all of this. It's like you wait until round 2 of the both of you. You don't like each other. We get that.
Yeah, and I'm like, because I'm also too, I'm like, he mentioned there too, he's like, as a coach, you have to believe your player, and I get that, as you should. I think you should like back your player. That's great. Why wouldn't you have said something after that first match then? Why did you wait?
Yeah. From the Canadian press, Cushing categorically denied the allegation. Herdman said the Yankee Stadium incident did not lead to anything because cameras under the stadium had not captured the incident. Some 4 weeks later, the league released a short statement on the affair, confirming an altercation that started on the field. This is March. Continued into the stadium tunnels in the first game and after the second game. And so then the league then comes out with their 2 sentences, and it's like you went to the principal's office and got a talking to, basically. So, but that's where we are. Literally, it is NYCFC, you're clear. And Michael, you're right. The whole situation is dumb. Michael says this whole situation is dumb. Yes. But at the same time, you have apparently impugned the reputation of a coach. You have a fellow coach in Major League Soccer calling out another head coach who has now been cleared of an allegation. So what now do we do? And where did the information come from? What was the chain of command to giving the information on March 11 or March 11 and or March 16, May 11? In that chain of command, then why do you sit on it? To your point, why do you sit on that information for almost 2 months from match 1 to match 2? And
also, I find it interesting too that NYCFC was the one who asked the league to investigate it, not Toronto. Wouldn't you think that Toronto would be the ones to investigate it if that actually happened? If I'm the club, I mean, I want you to investigate and see what happened because this shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. But the fact that NYC is investigating Herdman's accusation, that's all sus. Mm-hmm. It's a little sus. I don't know. The whole situation's weird. The whole situation is so dumb. Mm-hmm. I agree with Michael. I think it's so. I just there's a lot of points where I'm like, if it happened in March, why would you wait almost 2 months until the next game to bring it up? Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, it was.
I don't even know.
It was spurred on by rivalry part 2, and so you feel like you have to say something after the second match. Well, back in the first match,
True.
I mean, yeah, Tom, but yeah, we are. But it was just it's something that we have to keep an eye on. So we'll keep an eye on it going forward. And so Tom is being the traffic cop this morning. He's like, "Can we move on?" We actually
Normally I am. I'm sorry. I should have. I was confused.
And we actually have matches to talk about this weekend.
We do have matches to talk about.
And so it's
we got soccer.
I know, but it's once again, and to the point of Michael, who says that having these matches in an international window is dumb.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm like, who they got?
It is first and foremost, and we'll do the juice boxes, and we'll let everybody say what they feel about the juice boxes in these particular matchups. 7:30. I don't know how busy of an evening it's going to be for our buddy Kevin Egan, considering it's only 4 matches, but it might be an early evening for our buddy Kevin Egan and our friends at MLS 360. 7:30, which means 7:40. It is Revs and Red Bulls, and the Revolution are a plus 154 at home. Home favorite. Red Bulls are a plus 163 on the road, and it is a plus 254 for the draw for the Revs at home. A home favorite, the team that is worst in the Eastern Conference, favored against Red Bulls.
That's shocking. But hold on, really? Okay.
Well,
sure.
let me double check the.
Okay, DraftKings.
Let me double check the absences. Double check the absences here and see who's. And by the way, fix your fantasy teams, people.
I'm sorry. That was at me. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying, fix your fantasy teams because of
we can only use from this pool.
Yeah, you have 8 clubs that you can fill your roster with this week, and as the public service, once again, you're looking at all of these. All these
I'm gonna make it all Minnesota.
Well, you can't because you only have a 3-person limit.
Dang it! You're so right.
So you can't go.
I'll use up the cap for each one.
But that's the thing. It's like you do that, and you end up with. I literally filled up my roster, and I had 14 million left over. I had 14.
Actually?
I had 14 million left over. I absolutely did. Absolutely did. So fix your fantasy teams, and if you haven't joined the fantasy league, join the fantasy league at the Jason Wright Agency. Jason Wright with a WAGEN on Twitter, or the Jason Wright with a W Agency on the Facebook page. And you can join the fantasy league, and you can, beat me on a weekly basis. So that is very, very cool that we get to sit there and just max out our lineup with folks from St. Louis and Portland and Minnesota and Dallas and Sporting in Seattle and the Revs and Red Bulls. So, yeah. So
I'm not picking any New York. Revolution on my team.
Well, I mean, you could probably pick Carlos Heel and you'd be okay.
That is true. I could pick Carlos Heel. Okay.
And so, let's see. Sound, photos, media assets. Dylan Barrero was a part of the discussion. I'm trying to look at my Caleb Porter quotes and see if there's anything going on with that. Why don't the Revs just like give me information involving everything here? Tell me who's in, who's out. I need to know who's in and who's out, Revolution, and especially in Red Bulls as well. I don't know if folks have gone over for the Euros yet or not, but I'm marketable commodities. I am marketable commodities. I'm at the bottom of the table in the Pro Rel League, and I'm like in the middle of the pack in the League. So, Maddie, what's your team name? Del wants to know.
Cruising through the ranks.
There you go, cruising through. All about branding for Maddie. So, the Revs are favored at 7:30, which means a 7:40 kick. The other kicks, 8:30, Minnesota United hosting FC Dallas. Minnesota United favored at a plus 102. And it is draw at a plus 271, and FC Dallas is a plus 244. This one is probably a slam dunk.
Oh, yeah. Minnesota is going to.
Eric Ramsey, MLS Coach of the Year. Eric Ramsey.
He's doing a good job.
MLS Coach of the Year.
He's doing great.
So you're looking at that one. I've got to go Minnesota here as well, and keep an eye on the total too. Also on the board at 8:30, which means 8:40. It is Kansas City and Seattle, both teams below the playoff bar in the West. We had Nico Moreno on to talk about it yesterday, and for Nico, he's like, yeah, man. I mean, you got two teams. If one of these teams wins, it could mean the end of the season for the other, and you're in an international window when this happens. Kansas City is an underdog at home. Kansas City is a plus 179. Draws a plus 243. Seattle is a plus 146, by the way. So Seattle favored on the road with the injuries and absences against Sporting Kansas City, and we are all waiting for the conversation that Peter Vermees has with Peter Vermees, like Judge Smales and Danny Noonan in Judge Smales' office in Caddyshack, where he's got his back turned to him, and he has to have the same conversation with himself. It's like,
I found the international players that are gone for each team.
Okay, are they gone? Like now? Are they
Minnesota? RIP.
Yeah,
Minnesota has so many players gone.
Yep, with the Euros, they've got a lot, and then and with Canada, they've also got those that are out the door as well.
Minnesota has 9 players gone.
Yes, they do.
9 players. New England Revolution has 3 missing. Red Bulls has 5. I get this from MLS Soccer.
Who's missing? Let everybody know. Don't just say that folks are missing.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't want to mispronounce names because I will. So if you want to look it up because you're better at this than I am. It's MLSsoccer.com and it's the June 6th international window. Who's gone?
Okay, hang on. All right, so
you're better at this than I am.
You're looking at news. All right, so you're looking at news. We talked about the news yesterday about Tim Bezbachenko leaving to go across to be a part of Black Knight Holdings.
Yeah, it should have come out 4 days ago.
All right, hang on. I'm trying to sit there and see where it is. The fan events. Thomas Hassel signs with LAFC.
Hey,
Samuel Shashua signs with Minnesota United. There's your disco summary. Best 11, offsides, disco, moments of the match day. I see nothing.
Here, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
I'll send it to you. That probably was just easier than having you look it up, but hey.
Yeah, so I
right, the blonde is just it sometimes just seeps through into to the brain a little bit. We have a little dumb blonde moment.
So Lewis Morgan out for and so Lewis Morgan is out, so I imagine that means that Emil Forsberg is out as well, so that means no offense for Red Bulls, which would play into why they are with the number that they are. Lewis Morgan, Scotland finally got smart and brought Lewis Morgan in. About blanking time that you would do that. Yeah, Minnesota, I believe, for U.S. training camp or for the training camps, it's an international window. You've got Dane St. Clair, I think, is missing, and
St. Clair is on for Canada.
Yeah, it was a long day apparently for Jesse Marsh in his first match as the new man in charge for the Canadian men's national team. So Jesse got some things he got to do. By the way, Netherlands in Rotterdam, and the only reason it was a 4-0 loss, by the way. Jesse Marsh acknowledges that 4-0 was a tough scoreline, and they pressed the Dutch, and you went up against Frimpong, Depay, Wout Weghorst, Virgil van Dijk. They all scored in the second half. Alphonso Davies was there and playing for and so Dane St. Clair played yesterday. So he gave up 4 in the matchup. So Dane St. Clair is not in attendance for your friends with the Canadian men's national team. So that's where we are there. Alistair Johnston, and you end up with a 4-0 loss. 3 of the goals coming in a 13-minute span as 49th ranked Canada takes on number 2 France on Sunday. You want to talk about you're going against the Dutch. You lose 4-0 in Rotterdam. Then on Sunday, you're going to take on France in Bordeaux. France. Carlos Cornell, I think he has international duty as well. Did you find that link?
I sent it to you.
You did? Did you put it in the the private chat so I can get to it faster?
Sorry. Will do.
Yeah. So I think Cornell is out for international window as he's getting ready for Copa and such. So there's the number of players. Dane St. Clair out for a Canadian men's national team, and this will be a test. This will be a test of all of your acumen when it comes to your fantasy team. Open link in new tab. So here we go. All right. So Junior International window. I've seen this before. All right. So for teams that are playing this weekend, Nolan Norris and Carl Saint are gone for FC Dallas. Sporting has no one missing. No, not a surprise. Minnesota United. Arriaga for Honduras, Braun for Costa Rica, Carlos Harvey for Panama, Robin Lod for Finland, Tony Oluwaseyi for Canada, Timu Pukki for Finland, Joseph Rosales for Honduras, Dane St. Clair, who played yesterday for Canada, Zerk Valentin for Puerto Rico. So you have all those players. Revs. Bayrak Terovic is in camp for the U23s. Noel Buck for the Elite League squad with England ties, and Ravas for Slovakia. Coronel is out with Paraguay, Dell. And so it's U21s for Noah Isle, Forsberg for Sweden, Lewis Morgan for Scotland, John Tolkien for the U23s. You've got for Seattle, Stuart Hawkins for the U19s, Nuhu out for Cameroon. And so that's those are your absences for the moment. St. Louis and Portland. Who's missing for St. Louis and Portland? Kyle Hebert for Canada. For St. Louis City. And for Portland, it's Miguel Araujo for Peru, Crepeau for Canada, Kamal Miller for Canada. And in the other schedules we mentioned, Minnesota, Dallas. I don't think Dallas has a whole lot of folks that are gone, or at least Nolan Norris and Carl Saint. We talked about those two. And let's see, we talked about those, and then New England and New York. So those are your absences. But Coronel is out international window for Paraguay, getting ready for Copa. So that is where those are. Your fourth matchup is St. Louis City hosting Portland. And in that matchup, shocking no one, all caps is a minus 145 at home for the 8:30 start. Your draw is a plus 326, and Portland is a plus 333, traveling on the road to take on City at City Park. And so Portland, Araujo, Crepeau, and Kamal Miller. So that's what you're staring at with them on the road. Everybody's handcuffed here. But once again, teams can sit there and say, I'm cool with playing in an international window. Others are like, no, we're not doing it. Because, you get teams that like Atlanta and Orlando that are missing like 8 and possibly 9 in this international window. So it's, it will be interesting, and it'll be a short evening for Kevin Egan, Sasha, BWP, and Kaylin Kyle for just those 4 matches. They'll be out the door by 11 o'clock, or at least they'll be done with 360 by 11 o'clock, and then they can just push over to the nightcap and let everybody know what else is going on there. Let's see. We got some stuff going on overseas with news and things like that. Everybody's kind of getting ready for the Euros. Housekeeping, remember Katie Smith from the Marshall Islands women's team. She's their new coach. We're going to catch up with her, and that'll be up this weekend. We're also going to catch up with one of the new franchises in the NPSL, and it is in Lawrence, Indiana, FC Pride. We're going to have that interview up as well this weekend. Yeah, Del, random. Speaking of St. Louis City, pronunciation. Yeah, we did see Scotty Scheffler's pronunciation of Louisville. Yes, a little bit of turning the screw a little bit for Scotty Scheffler on his way out the door. Hey, I'm in a different venue. I'm in one state over. I'm playing in the Memorial. Yeah, my time in Louisville. Yeah, Louisville. It wasn't even
Louisville.
Yeah, that's what he did. He kind of did a dig to the previous town that he was playing golf in. And Louisville is actually the pronunciation for the town in Jefferson County in the state of Georgia that was one of the previous state capitals in past years. Louisville. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes, one of the state capitals of Georgia initially in the early 19th century was Louisville, Georgia. So, yes, so Louisville is a pronunciation. Absolutely, it was an intentional dig. That was an intentional dig. So looking at gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, all those kinds of things. We mentioned yesterday about the idea that Brighton is interested in 31-year-old St. Pauli manager Fabian Hertzler. And so that apparently is getting some traction with Hertzler being interested by Brighton to take over there to be their new coach. A couple of other things. You've got Adam Wharton as a midfielder at Crystal Palace being ID'd as a transfer target for Manchester City. I don't have to say that one loudly because it's just all one word. Pep Guardiola, by the way, did you see Pep at Game 1 of the NBA Finals?
I did. It was everything. It was everything.
And so, it's running rampant. Okay, is he going to be coaching the men's national team, or is he going to be coaching
I saw that too.
NYCFC? I think he's coaching NYCFC first before he coaches the national.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think he coaches NYC. He leaves Manchester City, and then what he'll do is,
or he could come here.
Yeah, and that's true. He could also do that. But I think that legitimately, what happens with Pep is that he stops being the head coach at Manchester City, stays within the football group, and goes and he's the new head coach at NYC when they open up the new stadium there. Since NYC is a part of City Football Group, he just basically moves over. He gets the Central Park West condo that overlooks everything, and that's what we're staring at with all of that.
Oh no!
Jarrett joins us for the home stretch. What's going on, Jarrett?
You know how in disaster movies, when people are gathering for the very end of a disaster movie, they all kind of gather together to watch, like the movie Deep Impact, where she goes on the beach with her dad so they can stand there while a wave destroys all of Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. It is the last 5 minutes of the week. I am here to stand on the beach and watch the meteor hit somewhere off in the Atlantic Ocean and obliterate us all together.
Okay, well,
Dell, I did not. Dell, I wish I had just woken up. I was woken up at 7:15 this morning by a child.
Yeah, low flying rulers of households are the ones that get
the deep sigh.
Woke up and came into the bedroom. It was like, "Good morning, everyone." No, it's not. It's not. Also, I bring news.
From Doug Robertson of the AJC, put your fingers in your ears for this one. Stian Gregerson's expected to miss at least 2 weeks because of a strained left hamstring. Injury happened at the end of the 3-2 loss to Charlotte. Remember,
good thing you have 2 weeks off.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
And so 2 injuries. He's appeared in 9 of 16 matches. And so if you're looking at 2 weeks, you add 14 to 7. That means he misses the Houston match. And it will be interesting to see. So I guess it will end up being some combination of Derek and Ephra or Derek and Noah.
Depends on who's healthy. Maybe all three of them. I mean, maybe you get weird and play all three of them, although that's really risky.
Also, you have to figure out if Noah is going to be fine after. When does that match up?
Next Saturday, Houston, 15th.
No, I mean like for where
the
he's
US.
at, the U19.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because you have to think about him being fit wise. If he's going to play that long, will he have enough to actually go in and play? So it's likely it's going to be Derek and Ephra.
Yeah. So you're looking at that. Trying to see what the schedule is. I've clicked on the U19 page, and it's only giving me the current roster without any kind of results. So,
nice.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
Dell, I've been there for the 5:50 wake up calls. -7 now. We're generally past that, but I do not miss those days at all. She's been sleeping till she's been waking up after 8 o'clock for the last week because it's summer. And today she was just like, you know what, 7:15 seems like a good time, Dad.
Yeah.
Ugh. I do not miss those 5:15 times. Godspeed, sir.
Yes. The matchup today for the youth national team is not available. One does not exist for the U19 men's youth national team as USA takes on Argentina. So, if you got it, you got to figure out where it is. And yes, Derek is absolutely true. Large, fast, tall man needs to get healthy and stay that way. He's absolutely true.
Large, fast, tall
man. The LFTM. That is Stian Gregerson. That is absolutely Stian Gregerson.
Me, that's for sure.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the LFTM. So yeah, 2 weeks for 2 weeks for Stian, but that's 2 weeks, and then not knowing how the body responds. So that means that 7 and 14 is 21. So that means that Houston, he's out. DC, he is out. And then how does the body respond for the road trip to St. Louis? That's where
he's out for DC. You know the exact game you need him for, because Christian Benteke is just going to push people around.
Maybe it's time for Ephra, and so you get Ephra for that one.
Listen,
I would be very tempted to run Ephra out there in that game, and because what's he going to do? Give up a hat trick? I've already played this card before.
Exactly. Listen, I think you should play Ephra. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Let Ephra get in there.
I'm sure. Well, you may not necessarily have that much of a choice if you're Rob Valentino.
Exactly. But I mean, I think it's another good opportunity for him. I mean, he's already made his stamp on what he can do.
Ephra also has an incredible amount of sandpaper in him at any given moment, possibly too much at times. Ephra very much has absorbed his training with the Bolivian youth national team.
And quick note from Adam Crafton about the the Club World Cup is supposed to be going on a year from now here in the United States.
So they say.
So they say. And then right now that's where we are. It's so they say. FIFA is yet to announce a media rights partner to use the trademarked name. Not clear the monetary value to clubs involved. Sponsorship agreements remain a work in progress. FIFA said in a statement that they are fully confident that things will happen. But Adam Crafton, for those of you that subscribe to the Athletic for their international work, that might be another deep dive for you today. The Club World Cup a year away, and apparently the sponsors that might be coming to the table are not quite happy with FIFA. And FIFA is trying to get more money, color me shocked, from said sponsors when it comes to this particular event. Two sponsors that they mentioned, in this particular deal. One of them is the local the local bottler of soda here as one of the sponsors that's attached. So keeping an eye on the Club World Cup a year away, and we don't know where it's going to be broadcast. We don't know who's going to be sponsors, and we don't know any venues, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure I actually read that I think it was yesterday that apparently Dr. Pepper has passed Pepsi as the number 2.
That is true. They are number 2. That is
number 2 soda.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to be drinking Dr. Pepper as opposed to Pepsi products, but
look, all we're waiting for at this point is the Mountain Dew sponsorship for you.
Damn right. Damn right. That is absolutely true.
That'd be great.
It would.
Also, good luck to anybody trying to find that U19 game. U.S. Soccer runs their social media account like a 14-year-old on his MySpace. There's no consistency. There's no schedule keeping. They're halfway teaching themselves HTML so they can insert their favorite August Burns Red song into their MySpace profile.
Yep. So that is so that's what we're staring at. Okay, so Club World Cup, Jacob Whitehead / Adam Crafton, and I'm sitting here trying to click on said article. 32 teams in the U.S. prepping for the 26 World Cup. 3 spots left, and you know that Inter Miami is going to be one of them because you get the you have like the wild card that the tournament can plug in there, and so they can do that. FIFA's nowhere near the targets. They're looking for 10 sponsors, each paying more than $100 million. Still in progress. No
part is SDH, bud.
Yeah, man.
We too are looking for $100 million sponsor for this program.
Damn right we are.
So just tell people, if you get that $100 million sponsor, if that ever comes through, you get Soccer Over There back, but like every night.
Yeah, you get Soccer Over There, every single damn day of the week. 3 spots left. Messi and friends are still going to get the wild card spot. Revenue derived from sponsorship and broadcast deals. No Barca, no AC Milan, and other Premier League sides have made the tournament a tougher sell. Apple TV looks like they're going to be the ones that might be bellying up to the bar. In a written response to leagues threatening legal action over scheduling, FIFA said their arguments, quote, were not supported by facts. That's FIFA in response to those kinds of things. So, you go, FIFA. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and what to watch today. Once again, very, very busy weekend. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Decatur High School, WPSL. It is Georgia Impact, and it is Decatur FC. Anticipating another full house, at least on the home side, which would be 1,800 folks. Wouldn't surprise me if they ended up opening up the visitor side behind the benches, which could be dangerous because those benches on the visitor side with the two soccer benches could get pretty rowdy. You get the ultras over there on that side behind the opposition's bench. Could be really, really loud. And we'll have the broadcast on the network a little before 7 o'clock. Romelu Lukaku opened the door to a Saudi Pro League move. Interest from AC Milan, Napoli, and from Fenerbahce. Any Napoli move for Lukaku would only happen if they managed to sell Victor Osimhen first. Everton risk losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free in 25 after stopping contract talks. Chelsea monitoring developments with Calvert-Lewin, while Benjamin Sesko also among the options they're considering. That's the 4-letter paper. We mentioned the 6 clubs that are probably going to have to sell folks off. Leicester signed Jamie Vardy to a 1-year deal. Dominic Solanke has a release clause of $65 million.
Why?
Probably because it was economicable at the age of 9 gazillion.
Y'all realize it's 2024. You don't, Lester. You don't have to live this way.
No, you don't.
You don't have to live like this.
Correct.
There are other ways to live your life.
Yes. So Solanke has a release clause. It can only be activated by certain clubs. United have made a €60 million bid for Lille defender Lenny Yoro, face a fight from Real Madrid. Chelsea have made Michael Olise one of their top summer targets. Blues ready to rival the £60 million player. Lucy Bronze wants to stay at Barca, even though she'll have better offers to play in other countries, and her club wanted to keep her beyond the end of her current contract. Barcelona and Spain forward Mariona Caldente has agreed to join Arsenal when her contract expires at the end of June. Raheem Sterling has no interest in a move to Fenerbahce, 4-letter paper. Allegri has been offered the chance to manage in the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote, but he'd like to take charge of a club in the Premier League. Dortmund want to sign Ian Matson on a permanent after he impressed on a loan, but they don't want to quite meet the £35 million evaluation. We mentioned Fabian Hertzler. We mentioned Gareth Potter going back possibly. Newcastle in advanced talks with Lloyd Kelly at Bournemouth. West Ham, Spurs, Roma, Atletico also available to pick Kelly up on a free. Sheffield United have registered their interest in signing Nottingham Forest English defender Joe Worrell, available on a free when his contract expires this summer. Arsenal and Gabriel said it's his dream to join Corinthians. Chelsea's Conor Gallagher prepared to stay at the club despite interest from Villa and Spurs. Rafinha, part of Hansi Flick's plans, but a final decision on his future will be made with clubs in the league that we neither condone nor endorse nor promote. Interested in him. What to watch? Where to watch it today? If you're not... Yes.
TST and the T20 World Cup.
Oh, I've yet to get your thoughts on TST and what's going on over there.
Well, TST is basically a litmus test to see how much of an absolute sicko you are for Atlanta sports and specifically Atlanta United and their history.
Hit it.
Brendan Lamb had a hat trick on the first day. Brendan Lamb was part of the academy. Believe he's at school at. He's in the ACC somewhere, I think. Brendan Lamb was like competing for minutes with Jay Fortune for Atlanta United too. Kind of reach out to Jack Collison about this one because Jack loved both those kids. He loved Jay and he loved Brendan. Mm-hmm. I think both of them benefited from playing with Robbie Mertz at times.
Yes.
Dale, the only one we're going to mention is the fact that Allen is showing out for the twos when he gets time. And
there you go.
Allen is doing all of the right things, except I needed to eat like another jar of Skippy's peanut butter every day and put on more weight. But like you had Brendan Lamb out there, Christian Bruletti, Bruletti was out there, who's a part of Atlanta United's academy, and I believe he's up and playing in the Big Ten now. Don't know if he's in the Leaders or Legends division. Godspeed if you remember that era of time and space. Yeah, man, like Amir Bashti, former Atlanta United draft pick, is playing in the soccer tournament. Last night, we got to watch a slap fight between Nani and Sergio Aguero.
And Nani was the cooler head of the two.
Yeah, Nani was like calming his team down and was being the rational human being, which tells you all about the team he put together. Yeah. There was a red card there. Surprise, surprise. Chris Penso gave out a red card in the soccer tournament. What a shocker. everybody's floored. I promise you, nobody expected that. The women's tournament is kicking up as well. So that's very fun. And the soccer tournament is very fun, and it's dumb because in that first game when Sergio Aguero's team gave up a hat trick to Brendan Lamb,
Yes.
you had like Sergio Aguero squaring up, looking like he was legitimately going to fight a guy who basically was like an equipment manager.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of the soccer tournament, of these guys playing for $1 million, because you can tell some of these guys made $1 million in, a month and a half at the peak of their career, and some of these guys have never seen $1 million in their life.
Yes.
Those are the ones that are throwing their way in front of every ball and
Yes.
trying to kick the ball through the back of the net, not into, but through the back of the net. Our prepositions are vital here.
Yes.
In these situations. Most of the soccer tournament stuff's on ESPN Plus. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If for no other reason you get weird stuff like the Wrexham comeback, leave your opinions on Wrexham at the door, whether good or bad. Just enjoy the tournament.
Yep.
Because when you get the target scoring thing and then the target scorer doesn't get hit, and then they start pulling guys off the field. Wrexham won their last game and secured their place in the knockout round because they kept taking players off the field. That game ended 2v2.
Wow.
Like it was 2v2. It was beautiful. Adele's going to be there tonight and tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, follow Adele. Keep up
Yes.
with the soccer tournament because it's amazing. And then when that isn't going on, if you have access to Willow, you can watch the T20 World Cup because now we are a cricket nation, apparently.
Yes. The way that you did in the Super Over, it was fantastic. It was great television. What to watch, where to watch it, and how. Speaking of TST, the women's tournament starts tonight. USA and Angel City are at 7:30 on the Plus. FIFA Plus has African qualifiers for the 26 World Cup, 3 matches, and the 9 o'clock block. 3 more at noon. You can watch all these at FIFA Plus. 3 in the 3 o'clock block. Fox Soccer Plus has 2 friendlies. Armenia, Kazakhstan at noon. Germany, Greece at 2:45. 3 matches in MLS Next Pro tonight. Chicago Fire 2 and Chattanooga FC from Bridgeview. Orlando City B, Carolina Core from Osceola Heritage Park. Kansas City, Sporting Kansas City 2, and Dynamo Dos. All of those are at 7 o'clock Eastern. That one's in Lawrence, Kansas. Those are all at MLSNextPro.com. NWSL Plus Racing Louisville and Houston at 8. Prime Video has the NWSL match of the Friday night week. San Diego and Orlando at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, NWSL on CBS. FS2 has a friendly. Ion has their NWSL doubleheader. USA Colombia is at 5:30 on TNT and the WBD network. Fox Deportes Mexico and Brazil at 8:30 from College Station. That's going to be a fun one. Telemundo simulcasting Mexico and Brazil and 2 to NA. Universo simulcasting USA Colombia. Univision simulcasting Mexico Brazil. 4 matches in Apple TV on Season Pass. Hunt City hosting Crown Legacy at 8 o'clock from Next Pro. ESPN Plus running TST men's and women's. La Liga Segunda. All the action in the USL Championship. Dell has Charleston and Pittsburgh going on. Bob Lilly has been doing nothing but yelling all season long. I think they're below the playoff bar right now in the East. 8 matches on the USL Championship on the Plus. All 4 matches in the Jägermeister Cup in League One. Fox Soccer Plus has 2 friendlies, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Cavalry and Forge in the CPL. Golasso Network, NWSL, USL Championship. Max continues the simulcast on the WBD for USA Colombia. NWSL Plus at 7:30. Paramount Plus USL Championship doubleheader on Golasso Network and NWSL action day and night. Peacock simulcasting the international friendly. What else is on your mind before we go? And I'm sorry we couldn't catch up with Ryan Marcano. I think he's TSTing or something.
Yeah, probably. No, it's again. Enjoy TST. This is the perfect content that we need as of this moment in space and time because everybody's on international breaks. We're done with leagues. We're kind of in between games that really matter because we're ramping up for the Euros, but we're not quite there yet.
That's next.
Yeah, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. And so you need something to get you through this stretch of time. Well, TST is here. And USL is here because, hey, you can watch Bob Lilly yell at his team. I highly recommend it at all given points in time. Even if you don't have a dog in the fight with Charleston, go watch Bob Lilly yell at his team.
Oh.
Go get Willow picked up if you got the app for it and log in with your TV provider or your family's TV provider or your friend's TV provider, go watch the T20 because it's a form of cricket that, as Bam and I have discussed, it is a form of cricket. I think it has the best chance of sticking in the U.S. because it is a quick, 2.5, maybe 3 hour form of cricket. And it's an incredibly aggressive style because you're limited on the number of balls that you actually see. So you have to go big or go home every single time. It's what made Chris Gale so much fun to watch when he played for the West Indies, because he basically would just go full Willie Mo Pena and try and hit the ball into the next county. TST every 6 months. June in North Carolina, December on the West Coast. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. If you would find a way to do TST things anytime you have these dead periods between leagues, and then there's not and it's just like random friendlies that don't really matter because the country, we can laugh at Wales. Sorry, Jack Collison played for Wales. Sorry, Jack, but Wales drew with Gibraltar, which would not be nearly as funny if Wales had not fired off at the hip at Scotland when the Euro qualifying groups got announced, and Scotland ended up winning their group, and Wales is not going, and then is now drawing with Gibraltar, and it's a very weird time for Wales as they're trying to figure themselves out. Anytime we have these dead periods where it's just random friendlies, whatever. Give me the soccer tournament. Give me something weird. Give me these weird TST matches. Give me a random cricket World Cup that you can just throw out there and make it fun. Make it silly. Because everybody's wanting to do the comparisons. I don't really know how to compare the USA beating Pakistan in cricket other than I think the closest I came to is we could go Battery or Lou City, but going down to Mexico and winning a game. It's hard to compare because it's hard to ever make these kinds of comparisons, but it's a big deal because you're used to Pakistan's people knocking people's blocks off, and if they have to play again, that might be what happens. USA might get their block knocked off. It's okay. It's happened to better teams than them in the past. Mm-hmm. But yeah, enjoy that for what it is, because again, there is a cricket league here in the U.S. that's actually getting broadcast that plays out of Texas as well. My one complaint about all this is that the ticket prices apparently have been astronomical. Mm-hmm. So it sucks that it's price prohibitive to go see it in person, but yeah. At least there's things to watch right now.
Yes, absolutely true.
Also, Maddie did an Irish goodbye, and I'm so proud of her.
Yes, she's learning. She is absolutely learning. Yes, absolutely. And you've got a studio audience.
I have basically the bumpuses on 3 sides of my house from Christmas Story. Where at any given time, any given time, dogs get let out, and then all the dogs go to the fence and yell at each other. So the birds are actually pretty chill right now. I don't have many trees around my house, so that part's nice. So I can just sit on the back deck and enjoy the quiet until the dogs get let out.
And we will do that, and we'll have fun all weekend long doing stuff. All right, we got stuff that's going to be released all weekend with some interviews and some 1v1s. Remember, tonight, 7 o'clock, it is Georgia Impact and Decatur FC on the network. Very, very cool there. Looking forward to the packed house in Decatur at Decatur High School for another go-around for a big rivalry that is blowing up in the WPSL in short order. So for Jarrett, it's me. We'll be back at it again on Monday to talk about what happened this weekend and get you ready for another week, because it'll be a match week. We'll get you ready for Atlanta and Houston. We'll try and track down Glenn Davis, see what Glenn's up to, and get him to talk about Dynamo, and get you ready for the opposition side of things, and get you ready for the Euros and everything else going on here in the summer of soccer here on SDH. So, Jared, if you would please, sir, send us home for another week.
Much obliged to y'all.
What he said.